Hello, what's up?
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. Sorry, didn't see you there.
It's the
Uh,
it's the apostate ex-Muslim lantern.
Boss did ex-Muslim lantern prophet. David, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? Just sending out the links here. Sending out the links. I'm live with the apostate prophet.
David. Yeah, I was already live earlier today. Had a very interesting live stream. For a change, I actually had an interesting guest with me. Uh, that was Jay Dyer. Unfortunately, now I have to sit down once again with Mike Winger. But we decided to go through some of the responses that people give in response to
How'd that go?
9/11. What?
How'd the discussion with Jay Dyer go, man? Well, if you like him so much, why don't you make him your new partner?
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Pretty good. It looks like he really has been on a path to learn lots about Islam and counter Islam and stuff. Last time I talked about him, this time, compared to last time that I talked about him, he was much more knowledgeable on Islam, and that wasn't even too long ago. So
Good times, good
yeah.
times. And really that's the takeaway from the Dawa clowns over the past several years is so for a long time, this is on topic. For a long time you had all these terrorist attacks, but people would be thinking, "What are you talking about, man? I know this like I have a nice Muslim friend at school. He's not like that. So how could this be a problem with Islam? How could all these terrorist attacks be a problem with Islam itself? I know so many nice Muslims who aren't out violently trying to subjugate the world and so on. And then, if they were to listen to a Muslim speaker, those Muslim speakers were hand-picked for who's going to be most persuasive to Western audiences. And then eventually you get to the modern mutation of Dawa, where they actually go back to good hardcore Islamic values, heaping insults and abuse and threats on everyone who disagrees with them. And these guys become the most popular. And the rest of the world, Christians, atheists, Hindus, Jews, are all watching this going, wait a minute, this is popular? It's this is more popular than this nice Muslim over here. He gets 200 views, and this guy who's screaming he's going to chop the heads off of apostates, he gets over 1 million. What is going on here? People caught on, and then people start taking Islam much more seriously as a danger to their future, and they start learning about it. And then what do the Muslims do? Oh, Islamophobia, avalanche of apostasy. Only getting started, guys. Only getting started here.
Yeah. It was funny. I shared a few things with Jay that he wasn't aware of, such as that meat goes bad because of the Jews.
Oh yeah, he needs to know that.
He found
And
he found that hilarious.
AP, the main reason the Israel collapsed in the
Yeah.
ancient world was that Jewish women started wearing wigs,
Yes.
or at least
That's
hair
true.
extensions. Muhammad said it. Guys, if you want the references, check out my video on when I chopped off my hair for to expose Muhammad for a good cause. That's in there. Muhammad said that. That's why
Yeah.
Allah turned against Israel. The women were wearing wigs. He said it.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
If they just banged a bunch of kids and slaughtered everyone, it'd have been fine. But wigs, Allah draws the line there.
That's what they do. That's
do.
what they do. Yeah, I mentioned the whole hadith about meat going bad because of the Jews thing to him, and then he asked a very brilliant question, which was, so wait a minute, had the little mustache man won, would meat then be immortal and would it never go bad? And
Good
I thought,
question.
yeah. See,
One, you need to make like a short out of that, or just make a separate video out of that and steal his point and then you making it in a short video, raising that question and titling it something like "If Little Mustache Man Had Won."
This would happen to meat if Hitler won.
And then you'll have all the Hitler fanboys going, "You see, he was just fighting for meat not to go bad. That's what he was really after."
Yeah, that's why. Now we have to always quickly eat the meat before it goes bad. This is why Hitler was beast. Anyway, so yes, today we want to talk about 9/11. Let's stop with the jokes for a second. This is a very serious conversation. Very serious stuff. At least to some people, it's apparently very, very sensitive topic. I wasn't aware of this until I landed in New York at the airport with David on our way back from Israel. We landed in New York and briefly went outside to see what we're gonna do. To take a little thing, shuttle to a hotel. And as we were standing outside, this was my first time in New York. I said to David, "Oh, hey, this is a good opportunity. I want to go see see the Twin Towers." And David then looked at me and said something along the lines of, "You better be careful. Somebody's going to beat you up or something."
Yep. Yeah, you find out because I found that out about Germany, right? That they don't joke about certain things, right? I told you that before. I was in German class and I was saying I was running my mouth about something and I started going Deutschland, Deutschland, Uber. All this. My professor goes, Germans don't joke about that stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. You're not supposed to joke about that in Germany. That's not what they do. But yeah, so
and little side note, it was an interesting contrast because, as you pointed out, we were just getting back from Israel. And you had Rebecca over there joking about the Holocaust Museum and stuff. It was like, wait, you guys, this makes no sense. You guys joke about it. It was so weird, wasn't it?
That was really. I mean, I was aware that Jews have an interesting sense of humor in the past.
Dark sense of humor.
But I didn't really get to experience it until I was there, and we interacted with different people, including Rebecca, who who really had a very interesting sense of humor, joking about herself, joking about Jews, joking about death, joking about the Holocaust, and so on. It's pretty. I guess it's a good way to, or it's an interesting coping way to deal with suffering, to joke about it, as dark as it may be.
I mean, seriously, it's probably like the healthiest and the best for you psychologically. Like, you deal with it, you mourn, and then do something else. Sing. They love to sing, and eventually, hopefully, you get to the point where you can joke about it.
But the thing is,
it's like it's taking away its power over you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've always thought that I have a very dark sense of humor, and sometimes people find it very, very inappropriate. However, when I went to Israel and interacted with Rebecca and others, I thought, whoa, man, like
these guys out of control.
Out of control, indeed. So, David, I want to talk about 9/11, and of course, I want to take this opportunity to be as narcissistic as possible and make it all about us and how we feel about it and where we were during 9/11.
What we do.
That's what we do. Because that's a popular thing. That's what you're supposed to do. So, I first want to take this first hour to explain how exactly I felt and where exactly I was on 9/11. But before we come to that, what do you think about the reactions that people gave in response to 9/11? And do you think we really called it out sufficiently? What did we learn, and how did the Muslim world react, and so on?
Well, you had Muslims reacting in different ways. And to be clear, there were lots of Muslims who do not like terrorist attacks and so on. They're not about that. You had other Muslims who are, want to see the West brought to its knees and destroyed and so on, but didn't think that was necessarily the right time or the right way to go about it. They thought there would be this backlash and so on. Then you had the completely two-faced groups who publicly were saying, "Oh, it's the worst thing in the world. This is so against Islam," and behind closed doors they were celebrating it and so on. And then you had the people who were just like openly celebrating it. But you had a lot of different reactions.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. Ethan Matthew looks exactly like me.
Yeah, it could be your twin brother, man.
Said I was too young to remember. LOL. Huh.
He's probably one of those weirdos who like went out and got like plastic surgery and stuff to like look like his hero.
Yeah, most likely, most possibly that looks like it. That exactly looks like it. 9/11 started atheism 2.0. How did atheists react to 9/11? I think over the years there has been this whole thing. 9/11 really changed a lot of stuff. After it happened, there was a reaction from people who responded by recognizing or noticing it and going against Islamic terrorism and Islamic radicalism and Islam altogether and so on. But then there's also, of course, the counter. Those who countered that mindset by being inspired by 9/11 and saying, "Oh no, because of 9/11 we are now blaming all Muslims and Islam. In fact, Islam is a religion of peace," and all that. And then you also had, of course, the head of the United States of America, George W. Bush, who ironically was extremely hated in the Middle East. He came out and said, "Hey, Islam, a religion of peace."
Its teachings are good and peaceful. I remember that part of the speech. Its teachings are good and peaceful.
So he spread this whole propaganda idea in the West that Islam is basically a religion of peace and that it's not about Islam. However, it is about terrorist groups that take advantage of Islam, and it's about Islamic terrorism or radicalism and whatever it is. And today we are still discussing this whole thing. Somebody who's about to who's running for president, Kamala Harris, refuses to say Islamic terrorism, and she actually, I think, voiced that it's that she finds it inappropriate to say it or something. We learned about it.
Yeah, didn't her husband announce that that's going to be his little side job? Like, I forget who started it. Was it Nancy Reagan who started it? I don't remember presidents' wives being terribly involved before Nancy Reagan, but then she jumped into stuff. And then since then, you have the president, and then the first lady always has to have like her project like that she's working on. And so if Kamala wins, then it's her husband who will be the first dude. And I think he's announced that he's going to make his thing combating Islamophobia, because we still have this problem called Islamophobia in the world.
Islamophobia. What a big problem. What a big problem. If it wasn't for Islamophobia, we would still have the Twin Towers, of course, for example.
You must have the courage to object when they use that term, radical Islamic terrorism, which ignores how Muslims have overwhelmingly been the greatest victims of terror.
What a stupid argument. She repeats the most common argument when people talk about Islamic terrorism, saying, "Oh, the greatest victims of Islamic terrorism are Muslims." Okay, yes.
From whom?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. However, what in the world does that say anything about whether whether Islamic terrorism is still Islamic radical terrorism or not?
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, nothing. And it's because it's a problem in Islam. It's Surah 9, verse 73. Muhammad said that he had been commanded not only to wage jihad against unbelievers, but also against hypocrites, people who are not following Islam properly. Abu Bakr fought the apostate wars. It wasn't just against people who renounced Islam. It was also people that he didn't think were following Islam correctly. And so you have this all the way back from the first generation of Muslims killing people, fighting people, waging jihad against people who aren't doing Islam correctly. And then you have groups like ISIS go out there and then they say, oh, that's not Islamic terrorism because they're killing Muslims. Wait, exactly like they're commanded to do in the Muslim sources and exactly like the first generation of Muslims did. That means they're not Muslims. So thank you. The first generation of Muslims were not Muslim. Abu Bakr was not a Muslim. Muhammad was not a Muslim. These guys weren't Muslims, according to modern politicians. But yeah, so this is insanely stupid. You pointed out something important that she just repeats like the most common thing.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like what she does. She'll talk to a group and like, what is the most popular claim that appeals to this group? Let me say that.
Exactly.
And that works. That works.
That's what they do.
And so I have to say, following this reasoning, yes, Muslims are some primary victims of Islamic terror, Muslims themselves. And what does that mean? It means when we are exposing jihad, when D. Wood and the apostate prophet are exposing the teachings of Muhammad, exposing them as false and ridiculous, exposing jihad terror. When we're doing these things, we are actually protecting Muslims. So don't call us Islamophobes. Just thank us.
Yes. That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's a very good
simple
point.
Simple logic.
We're protecting Muslims.
By the way, very relevant to today's issue. Here's a warning. This article is more than 13 years old because it came in 2011 when the operation against Osama bin Laden took place.
But I thought
Hamas,
I thought Hamas was the good guys now.
The leader, Ismail Haniyeh from Hamas, in response to the killing of Osama bin Laden, who took responsibility for 9/11, said that he condemns the killing of Osama bin Laden and that Osama bin Laden was a Arab holy warrior, and that this is merely an example of American imperialism and all that. That's basically what he said. He praised, he sees this as a continuation of the American policy based on oppression and the shedding of Muslim and Arab blood. We condemn the assassination and the killing of an Arab holy warrior. We ask God to offer him mercy with the true believers and martyrs. Which is, it is a demonstration of how the perpetrators of September 11 and October 7 are of the same mindset, of similar mindsets. These guys certainly admired Osama bin Laden, who took responsibility for 9/11. And yes, there are some people will say, "Oh no, you're just falling for the standard narrative. There's no proof. It was actually the lizard people who did 9/11. Why don't you admit it? Do you normie? Did you watch this documentary on YouTube that is totally blurry?" No, he admitted it, and this guy praises him. So,
hey, yeah. Imagine a Muslim terrorist leader telling the world that it's really bad and mean to go around killing Muslim terrorist leaders. This guy just better hope that no one gets the idea with him to take him out.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, wait, same thing happened to him?
Yes.
Poor guy.
Yes. They killed him too. They killed him. Unfortunately, they killed this super Arab holy warrior as well. Well, I'm glad that they're both dead, so that's a good thing.
And we must also have the courage to reject that term illegal alien. I have seen some of the worst of criminal behavior. I have seen the worst of crime. An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal.
What is this? This is the great reasoning on Kamala Harris's part.
Yeah, this is weird. I mean, I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with immigrants and so on, as if they're not here to terrorize me or something like that. But if you cross the border illegally, it's pretty. She's saying you haven't done it. She's saying you haven't done anything. You haven't committed any crime. Yes, it is. It is a crime to cross a border illegally. Hence the illegally part.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, we have to wait until they stab somebody, so or something else. Very, very, very powerful speech by Kamala. Did you watch the debate, by the way, yesterday
Yeah, I
by
did.
by Kamala
Yep.
and Trump?
Uh,
What did you think of it? Do you wanna review that sometime tomorrow or on Friday or something?
I'll be leaving on Friday,
That's pretty
heading
bad.
to El Paso on Friday. We could do something tomorrow on some channel.
So we could probably do that
I'm
tomorrow on
not.
YouTube.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going live on my channel. I don't know if I want to review the debate. There's not a lot of like, guys. Is there anything worth reviewing in that debate? Like, worth?
I mean, I watched it. In fact, I watched it twice, and I thought it was a terrible debate,
Uh-huh.
honestly. It
Yeah,
was horrible on both sides. And I would say that Kamala Harris actually made a good impression by
she
surprising
did.
people and performing better
I'll
than
say
people
it. She won.
expected.
I'll say it. She
Yeah,
won.
and she actually, in my opinion, and I know lots of people will be pissed about this, but she was actually better.
Mhm.
And Trump was on his worst. I mean, he was better in every other debate that I've seen from him so far. He was for some reason pretty bad in this one.
Yeah, and guys, just to be clear, when I say she won, I do not mean she had good points or anything. I don't believe a word that comes out of her mouth. It's like with her, it's what is going to appeal to my base for any statement. Let me say that. And it's like, and matter of fact, Trump pointed it out. She's like, she has no position. That's what I actually believe about it. I don't think she's like an empty vessel into which ideas are put to win election. It's the same thing with like old Joe Biden, like where he wasn't there anymore. He wasn't himself. He was just whatever they put on the teleprompter for him and so on. But so when I say she won, what I mean is everyone already knows Trump. Everyone already knows Trump. They know what Trump's about and so on. With Kamala, like you've never seen anything from her except for incoherent cackling at random things and like the most incoherent responses to anything ever. So how is she actually going to perform in a debate? And she basically memorized a bunch of things to spout. And I was thinking beforehand, I was like, if she's smart, she'll just go with stories. That's what works, right? This is how she burned up Biden in the presidential debate back in the day. She told a story, and the girl on the bus, that was me, and she's telling the story, right? That helps resonate with her base, and she instantly started about that, right? She instantly started with stories. So if you brought up abortion, it's like, what about the young woman who's sitting in a hospital parking lot bleeding out because she's having a miscarriage and they won't treat her because they're too worried about breaking abortion laws and so on. What about this girl? I've talked to these girls around the country. It's all I do. I go around talking to all these. It's like
The whole thing was just her trying
I
to
think anyone's an
appeal
idiot
to
for the word
emotions.
she says, but
Yeah, she was trying to appeal to emotions. I felt like I was being molested by her insistent appeal to emotions, and it was just ridiculous.
yeah. So the idea is everyone already knew Trump. Everyone already knew Trump's thoughts. So the main question was, can she make a strong appeal to her base? And again, not believing a word. We need someone who's going to unite people. And like every politician comes along and says that. No one ever does it. So it's a bunch of nonsense. Anyway, the point is that was the concern. Is she going to be a cackling moron? It's the same thing with Joe Biden a couple years ago. If everyone expects him to be completely incoherent babbling, well, if he actually can formulate coherent thoughts and so on, that's impressive. That's impressive because he's going above the expectations. So with Kamala, we expect cackling moron, and she was above her expectations and so on. So that made a positive impression on people. With that said, I have to say, I really don't like these debate formats, which are the only debate formats that people come up with now. It's like, okay, we're going to go 2 minutes. You get 2 minutes. It's like you are literally applying for the job of the most powerful person on the planet, and all you give is a soundbite. This should be more like interrogations, right? These should be conducted more like interrogations. Like, okay, we're going to talk about the economy, and we're going to have some serious people asking you some serious questions, and we're not budging from here until we actually understand your positions on all these things. And that's how you should do it. And the fact that people aren't willing to do that, that political candidates aren't willing to do that very frequently shows, I don't trust, kind of don't trust you handle all these issues if you're not willing to answer tough questions about the issues.
And they also both did the whole thing. They wouldn't stick to the topic. They wouldn't answer questions. The
That's
moderation was terrible. The moderators started debating and basically correcting Trump, but not her.
Yeah.
The moderators shouldn't be. He made false statements, but it's not up to the moderator to correct that. It's just like
Yeah,
there
that's
is an
that's your
opponent there for a
that's your
reason.
opponent's job. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was bad. Other than that, I mean, other than them like doing the fact checking and responding to Trump in the debate when they're the moderators, I thought they were good in terms of like time and like cutting people off, but sometimes giving people a little bit to to finish what they were saying and so on. I thought they did a good job as moderators, except they were one-sided in arguing with Trump and not with Kamala, because
This was the best part of the debate, Lou. This was my favorite part.
Over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk
Dogs.
about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in.
dogs,
They're eating the cats. They're eating
cats,
they're eating the pets of the people that
little
live.
hamsters. Imagine your hamster. You buy a hamster, you bring a hamster home to your kid, and then they eat them. They eat the little hamsters.
They're
eat
eating
them.
the dogs.
They put them on a little stick, and they roast them out there right in your front yard, and they're eating them. They're eating the little birds, the parakeets. Imagine your parakeet being eaten like chicken by some invaders.
He was strangely irritable and angry throughout the whole debate. He wasn't on his regular sassy, funny, calm mood. He was, I don't know, he was easily bothered. She got under his skin very easily. She seemed calm and composed.
She was trained on that. She was trained on that.
She was like interrupting him, and you could see in his face he is visibly getting angry and annoyed, and it was a very strange thing. I don't know.
She did exactly what I would have told her to do. Look, here's how this guy, here's the things that annoy these guys. We have tons of stuff. We know exactly what annoys this guy. Do these things, and when he's talking, just smile like you're amused the entire time. Just do that, because that's kind of, you can't train Kamala to have like serious intellectual positions on all these things, but you can train her to, okay, here are the stories you need to memorize. Here are the buttons. Here are how you can push his buttons, and just smile and grin like what he's saying is so ridiculous that it's amusing to you. That's it. Do that. Work.
Anyway, let's have a look at this here. These were news reports on 9/11.
I thought we were going to see some dogs being eaten.
As the planes flew into the buildings. I was going to say something about that, but never. I'll come back. As 9/11 happened, as the planes flew into buildings, Palestinian Arabs in East Jerusalem were celebrating.
Wonder what these kids grew up to become.
Engineers, probably, I would say. Yeah. Like making bombs at home. I remember this woman. Unforgettable.
Bass.
It's kind of funny how they adopted this whole Winston Churchill victory thing when they are the ones who are on the opposing side of wherever Winston Churchill would be or was. let's get a little bit closer to what's happening here and what is actually in the minds and the mood that is in the air here in this environment, and what the parents tell the children and so on. So what you see is you look at your TVs. Back then, of course, there is no proper internet, no social media. You look at the TV, and on TV there is a major report, repeated footage shown of a plane flying into one of the towers. And while the TVs are live reporting, another one is right there on the news, flying into the building. You can see it right there on your tiny TV back then. And as you see this, the general attitude and the general response and the mood here is that the adults and the younger ones are happy. They are rejoicing. And they think, yeah, yes, finally, they're getting what they deserve. They're getting what they deserve. Yeah, so many people are dying. I think there are over 1,000 dead now. I think maybe 2,000. I don't know, even more dying. And then any updates of a possible estimate of how many people have died so far would then be announced, and people would feel ecstatic and happy and joyous, relieved about that. They would see any deaths as revenge, as justice. Whoever at that point, they don't even care who did it. At that point, they don't even care who did it. It doesn't matter who did it. What happens is that the disbelievers are dying, and the Americans are dying, and the Jews are dying. Of course, an attack on. This is very funny. An attack on the Twin Towers was directly throughout the Muslim world considered an attack on Jews and Americans, not just on Americans, but on Jews and Americans. But then later, the same people will then claim that it was the Jews who were behind the attack, and that the Jews on that day supposedly were told to stay at home so that no Jew went to work on that day, and the Jews orchestrated this attack to then blame it on Muslims and then to terrorize Muslims. It's all just such a stupid mix, such a stupid collection of idiotic thoughts brought together that, if you put them all on a table and try to put them together, make no sense at all. But it's just the giant the slime that is collected and that infects and infests these sick minds. That's where all these thoughts come from. But here on the street, here these adults will of course immediately know what these kids are doing. These kids are told that this is a great occasion. They are celebrating. These kids don't understand what in the world is happening when a plane flies into those Twin Towers. They just hear it from the adults, and they're like, yeah, American dead, yeah. And the adults come and join in. This is what's happening there. They feel like this is fantastic.
And these things are all connected. There's a recurring theme, let me put it that way, that even ties into the debate that you just played some clips of. But when you're the Muslim world and you feel completely outmatched by Western powers, it's the Ivan Drago theme from Rocky IV. So Ivan Drago just completely beat Apollo Creed to death, and then Rocky has to fight him, and he comes across as like this perfect, scientifically designed fighting machine. And anyway, Rocky's fighting him, and there's this scene where he actually cuts him. He cuts him under the eye, and Rocky's trainer starts going, "You see, he's not a machine. He's not a machine." It's like it clicked. Wait a minute. I can actually hurt this guy. I can hurt this guy that we thought was basically like a machine. Anyway, that idea of, hey, I thought this guy was indestructible, and yet I just hurt him. That's what happened with 9/11. You've got the United States, the most powerful nation that has ever existed, and we actually managed to hurt them right in the middle of right there in New York City, their economic center. We actually managed to hurt them when we seemed we seemed almost powerless by comparison, and yet we found a way to hurt them. That was the exact same thing with the October 7th attacks. We're completely outmatched when it comes to Israel, and yet we found a way to hurt them. In other words, we sense weakness now. There's a weakness now. This is encouraging. This is encouraging. We're really happy because we have found that even though we're completely outmatched, we can actually hurt these guys. They're not as indestructible and invincible as we thought. With that, tying it into the debate, that's something that Trump was pointing out about, and it's something I saw as soon as it was happening. When the U.S. withdrew from Afghanistan in such a disastrous way that the United States looked weak and incompetent, leaving all their stuff behind, soldiers getting killed, people hanging onto the sides of airplanes. It looked like a complete disaster. That sent a message to the entire world. The entire world's like, whoa, these guys are not as impressive as we thought. They are not the unstoppable military force that we thought. They might be weaker than we are aware of. That's why in the debate, Trump brought it up. He should have brought this. He brought it up. He brought it up effectively. But I would have brought this up over and over again. That withdrawal, it wasn't a coincidence. He pointed this out. It wasn't a coincidence that Putin invades Ukraine right after that, right? And lots of the stuff with Iran starts happening after that. It's for many, many decades, a lot of groups in the world that want to go around invading other places are not doing it because they're scared of the United States. The United States is going to come and intervene and blow some people up. So they're just waiting. And what are they waiting for? They're waiting until the United States seems a bit weaker and more incompetent. And all of a sudden they all saw it. They all saw it. So then it's like a signal. It's a signal to the entire world. Hey, now you can get away with some stuff because the United States is not what it used to be. So anyway, that's why these young bucks are encouraged, and that's why nations generally want a very strong response after these things. You want to send the message, oh, you think we're weak because you just got that, because you just accomplished that? We're going to make you understand how strong we actually are and crush you.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Then you have people like this guy, Anthony Navarro, saying dancing Jews on 9/11. Anthony Navarro, probably not even the real name.
His real name is Nick Fuentes.
I just want to give you one little hint here. You will never see that these conspiracy theorists who push ideas like dancing Israelis on 9/11, you will never see that these guys actually engage in any honest debates with people, in any live debates. It's because they are so easily and so simply debunked that you have to rely on posting dumb phrases like these on the internet. Yeah, there is a conspiracy theory that there were these Israelis, they were arrested and they were responsible, they were part of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. It is just so immensely stupid. Yes, there were actually Israelis arrested on that day because of suspicious behavior reported by a woman on a balcony, and those Israelis, they just arrived after the event started and started taking photos of it, and the police did pick them up. What they did find, however, is that these guys were in the U.S. working with expired passports, that they arrived on the scene after the first plane hit, and that they had no foreknowledge of the issue, and immediately on the first day as they were arrested, there was any link to 9/11 was ruled out, and they were then, however, still held and interrogated based on whether they may be connected to any other activities in America or not. It was concluded that they were not. They were then deported. They also went on TV. You have their names. Nothing happened to these guys. It's just such an idiotic thing. On that day, lots of people were arrested. After 9/11, many Muslims in America were arrested in suspicion of terrorism. What's with them? Like, do we never talk about them? Do we just single out these Israeli guys because they happen to be from Israel, from they happen to be Jews? When it was the Muslim world that celebrated it, when it was Osama bin Laden who praised the terrorist attacks of 9/11, and when it was Osama bin Laden who in 2004 admitted that it was actually him and that he was proud of it.
Proud of that.
But yeah, sure, it
We're
was the
proud of
Jews.
that.
It was the Jews.
Hey, going back to what you were saying about how like they'll have all these different conspiracy theories, but the conspiracy theories don't fit together at all. Like you can't, it's not a coherent conspiracy theory. It's just blame the Jews for everything. And then it doesn't even make sense.
Jews.
But that's something that keeps happening with, I'll get, David, why don't you go after the Talmud the same way you go after Islam? And I'll go, well, if you ever end up with 2 billion people trying to impose the Talmud on me, then yeah, I'll have some problems with that. Until then, I'm going to go with the ideology that people are trying to impose on me. More as far as problems in the West, more concerned about Islam and an extreme, like off the deep end leftism. More concerned with that, and then I'll get, but the Jews are running both of those things. It's actually the Jews having Islam take over the West, and the Jews inciting that are inciting this far left, off the deep end leftism. Wait, really? Right, really? So the 2 most anti-Israel groups on the planet. The Jews are the ones that are actually fueling that, right? That's your theory. That's your theory. So Israel is basically like, who are the 2 groups in the universe that want to wipe Israel off the map most? Yeah, let's help those guys take over the West. That's your theory?
So stupid, man.
That's your theory, that the Jews are doing everything they can to bring about their own self-destruction. Suppose you want to say that. Suppose you want to argue that the Jews are doing everything they can to have the people who want to destroy Jews infiltrate all the people who don't want to destroy Jews, and they want the people who want to destroy Jews to take over and run everything so that Israel is completely destroyed. Okay, that doesn't fit together with your idea that the Jews are these genius masterminds controlling everything, right? It doesn't fit. Because if you're doing everything to bring about your own destruction, I guess that's possible, but you would be insane and ridiculously stupid if you were doing. You would be like the dumbest strategist on the planet if that's what you're doing. So what are they? These awesome masterminds, or these incompetent bumbling morons who are empowering all their enemies to destroy them? Which one? Which one is it? You can't keep saying all of the above. They don't fit together.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. That's true. That's true.
Hey, by the way.
Yes.
By the way, I heard.
I did too.
I've heard from people who lived in Dearborn that Dearborn was like this. That there were well, let me clear. There were places in Dearborn that were like this, and they said that it was on the local news. It was on the local news that people were celebrating in cafes and so on the 9/11 attacks right after it happened, and that very shortly after that, everything got scrubbed. You could not find records of it. You could not find records of those news broadcasts anywhere.
That's funny.
Interesting stuff. So it all got scrubbed somehow.
But here you have footage that was initially, this is not the one where he admits it, but he initially praising, this is Osama bin Laden, who presumably came about as a result of a goat copulating with his mother. And
what if a goat was the mom? You need to be more realistic.
We don't know that. We don't know.
What if the goat was his mom and it was his dad copulated with a goat?
Huh.
I'm just saying, you don't know unless you have the evidence. It's one or the other, but.
Well, I didn't really think this through, but that makes sense. It could be. It's probably more logistically, common that his father probably did copulate with the goat, and then he came into existence. So okay, fine. The goat was the mom. Okay. So, but here he is praising the attackers of 9/11. This was in 2001 after the attacks.
في ذكر أولئك الأبطال الذين خرجوا من أرض الحجاز من أرض الإيمان من غامد وزهران ومن بني شهر ومن حرب ومن نجد. نرجو الله أن يتقبل الجميع.
Voice sounds
والذين
stupid.
خرجوا من مكة المكرمة سالم ونواف الحازمي وخالد المحضار.
Khalid al-Mahtar. These are names of the terrorists of 9/11, the hijackers.
I'm just saying his voice sounds kind of weak compared to, like little mustache guy or something like that. But you have
He's
the
a
videos.
weak
You have
man.
the videos of the like
Here, for example,
come on.
Khalid al-Mahtar
Some
is, for
bass in your
example,
voice, Osama.
one of the hijackers who was part of the attacks.
No beard.
Just to point out here.
No beard.
Alhamdulillah.
أو الذين خرجوا من المدينة المنورة تركوا الدنيا ونعيمها من أجل لا إله إلا الله. إني لأشهد أنهم من كل بتار أحدوا. يا طالما خاضوا الصعاب وطالما صالوا وشدوا. شتان بين الذين لربهم باعوا النفوس الباسمين إلى الردى.
Anyway, so this is what he said. You can find. I retweeted this just to show it to those who say, "Oh, it was the truth. Osama bin Laden never admitted that it was actually the liquid people."
But maybe Osama bin Laden was a Jew. His real name was Mortimer Feldman. Look, here's a picture of a Jew who looks kind of like him, named Mortimer Feldman, you see?
This was also, by the way, here you have another terrorist sympathizer. I think, actually, in all honesty, the FBI should be at this point alerted to Daniel Kikic's post. And I'm happy to say that very, very openly, without any hesitation. If you are in America, you reside here, you claim to be just, presenting your opinions and this and that, and you don't want to be part of this, and you don't want to be falsely persecuted and all that, but you sit here actually making excuses for Osama bin Laden, the main terrorist, who has openly and very clearly said that he was responsible for 9/11. I think that the FBI should actually pay Daniel Kikic a close visit. But he is actually here saying, "Did you know Osama bin Laden condemned the 9/11 attacks for religious reasons?"
Unless Daniel's already on their payroll.
That's true. And then he cited a report where bin Laden initially, just a few days after September 11th, denied that he had anything to do with it, which of course completely disregards the fact that only a few months later, Osama bin Laden did record and publish a video in which he praised the September 11 attackers. And only 3 years later, he also then Al Jazeera directly published a video of him explaining in a lengthy and boring speech why he did it and what the reasoning is. The funny thing is that apparently the internet has a problem with playing that video. And of course the conspiracy theorists were like, "You see, why are they not playing that video?" And I must agree that I think that such measures of refusing to play certain controversial videos is, in my opinion, dumb, because some people want to treat everyone like children and say, "Oh, it contains a lot of bad propaganda and we shouldn't give it the publicity it deserves." Okay, man, but it's evidence, bro.
Yeah. Well, the rough part there is you have, they put algorithms in charge of this stuff. So they'll actually put it in the algorithm. If anyone is playing this, shut it down, because they think people are going to be like us, using it for propaganda purposes and playing it, And so I had a bunch of problems with Islamicize Me for that. It was like automated stuff that were picking up little ISIS things in the videos. Even though we're making fun of that, they're picking up on that and like banning the stuff. So anyway, yeah, they program their stuff to pick
This
up
is
on
pretty
all
much years ago. When I was younger, I was freely able to.
You were younger years ago?
Yeah, I was able to find this video and actually watch it. Earlier today, I spent, I must say, like 15 minutes or so trying to find the actual video, and I couldn't find it, which is very unusual. I usually find things quite easily like this. But you have it on Al Jazeera. I think they even published most of this video or parts of this video for everyone to view. For some reason, apparently they started scrubbing it, but here is the whole transcript um, where he takes responsibility and also explains why.
What are you
And
guys?
so
What are you
on.
doing? Read the entire thing
Like
in
this.
a powerful jihadi voice.
Of course, yeah, let's do
We
it.
want it recorded.
Praise be to Allah, who created the creation,
Hey.
who worship and commanded
Hey, you want to
them
go back and forth?
Not gonna do that, man. This is way too long.
We could go back and forth, paragraph by paragraph. We could just do the beginning and the end.
In 1982, when America permitted the Israelis to invade Lebanon, and the American Sixth Fleet helped them in that, this bombardment began, and many were killed and injured, and others were terrorized and displaced. Okay, your turn.
Oh, my turn?
Yeah.
The fire of Allah was in my eyes, and I couldn't forget these moving. He don't even talk like that. What's he talk like?
And as I looked at
I
those,
couldn't forget those
Lebanon-
bad things that happened, and let's paint some nice little trees here. That's what he sounds like, man. He sounds like Bob Ross trying to scare everybody.
yeah, so with these images and their likes as the background, the events of September 11th came as a reply to those great wrongs. Should a man be blamed for defending his sanctuary?
In defending oneself and punishing the aggressor in kind, objection of all terrorism. If it is, then it is unavoidable for us.
Here are the lines. Should a man be blamed for defending his sanctuary? We did this in response to American and Western atrocities and Israel. This is the message which I sought to communicate to you in word and deed repeatedly for years before September 11th. Daniel, you're finished.
You're finished already. Look at me. Look at me. You know you're done.
If you were to avoid these reasons, you will have taken the correct path that will lead to America to the security that it was in before September 11th. This concerned the causes of the war. Anyway, so there is a whole video together with the transcript, which directly Al Jazeera, not CNN or Fox News or whatever it is, Al Jazeera published, and it's all quite known. And he got his good and well-deserved end in the end. And here you have people. I actually saw a video earlier today, which my dear friend, what's his name again? My dear friend Egyptian Atheist posted earlier to point out how many Muslims around the world have this dual thing, like this attitude which they show when they speak English as opposed to when they speak Arabic, for example. He posted this: Muslims in English, the Mossad did 9/11, Muslims in Arabic, and then he shows the video. And I earlier asked him for the link to this actual video. He sent it to me. Here it is. This is a video about Mohammed Atta, who is one of the primary main hijackers on September 11th. In English, as said, you will hear people say, "Oh, Mossad is Israel. The Jews did it. The Jews did this. That's their fault." But then here, when you go into the comment section of people like these, among the people are those who sell themselves seeking God's pleasure. May Allah accept him as martyrs.
By the way, I mean, you have multiple Quran verses like that, but Surah 9, verse 111, the verse of the barter. Yeah. Allah has purchased for you the garden, and therefore this is what you do in exchange.
That's what they do.
So you're selling yourself to martyrdom for that.
Prostitute.
Urinating up. Yep. That's what they do.
So those who prostitute themselves for Allah will get a good prize and get a bunch of prostitutes in heaven.
Those who are trafficked by Allah.
Oh man. Yes, may God have mercy on him and his companions.
It's
Sentenced on me.
companions.
Some dumb lines here. May Allah forgive, mercy, blessings be upon Muhammad. He referring to Muhammad Atta, the terrorist, and his family. May God bless him and his family. May God accept him as martyr. This is a hero who won the afterlife, and you should rejoice in your life because you who comment on the video clip do not believe in the afterlife. May God have mercy on him. This is a renewal of jihad in this time, a man and few men. May God have mercy. May Allah have mercy. Allah forgive him and grant him paradise. Hero, big hero. And then the same person commenting in English would say, oh no, Jews did it. Mossad did. Israel did. Dancing Israelis.
Islam condemns this and forbids terrorism.
May Allah have mercy on him. I ask Allah to accept you in Jannatul Firdaus, in the garden of Jannah. May Allah rest his soul. May Allah have mercy on him. Ali Muhammad Atta. May Allah have mercy on you, our hero Muhammad Al-Amir. May Allah grant him paradise. Paradise. May Allah have mercy on him, Muhammad Al-Amir, and may Allah be an example to follow.
Hey, look at the name of that channel. May Allah curse the Jews and the Christians. It's the name of the channel.
It is totally based.
Praise be to Allah. May Allah have mercy on Muhammad Atta, the heroic mujahid. Oh Allah, forgive him, have mercy on him, and place him in your spacious paradise, Lord of the world.
Guys, I just want to be clear. These guys are these are the peaceful civilians we hear so much about. That, you know, they're not actually combatants. These guys aren't actually going out there and fighting. They have regular jobs and so on, and they're working. And terrorists will hide among them. And if you go after the terrorists, then some of these guys get killed in the process. And then you find out, oh my goodness, look, they're targeting civilians here.
May Allah have mercy on him. When there were Zionist men fighting jihad, may Allah have mercy on him and accept them as martyrs. Oh Allah, have mercy on him and forgive him and make his grave a garden of paradise and do not make it a pit of hell. Mujahid is a hero. May Allah have mercy on him, O Lord, and increase people like him. May Allah peace be upon you always. For I saw the generous and free person has no age. May Allah accept it and reward the nation with goodness. I wish I were with them, so I could win a great victory. I have a suggestion, user DF5SR9EZ1.
You should do that more often, like just make a video. I have a suggestion for you at user -DF5SR9EZ1U.
Yeah, but I just decided in the middle of it to not pronounce my suggestion because it's not good. May Allah have mercy on you, heroic Prince Muhammad Atta. It made the Americans taste a fraction of what it made the Muslims taste. Yeah. May Allah have mercy on him. 4 young children from my family have grown up orphaned because of this heinous act. Their father was the sole breadwinner. Didn't they realize that there was a high probability there would be Muslims in the building? The question is there a fatwa that permits a Muslim to kill a Muslim? Well, this is the only human comment I've seen so far here. This guy's actually saying, probably because his own family members actually died, saying, what the hell is this? What was the Muslim doing in the warrior's den? Is the response by another guy. So this guy is saying 4 young children from my family have grown up without father because of this act of September 11. This guy said, what was the Muslim doing in the warrior's den? And this guy says he was with your mother. People. May Allah accept
But-
you, Abu
but
Atta.
But my mother's a goat.
Goats are not even allowed in the building. May Allah accept them in aliyin. May Allah have mercy on the heroes. Allah will continue as you were. The criminal will bear the blood of all innocent people. Okay, sorry for that. This is a
What?
good one.
What's this doing here? How'd that
What are you
even
doing,
get
man?
8 likes?
There's one good guy among all of these goat rapists. What is happening here? Dude. All of these people are gathered here raping goats, and then this guy comes here like a human and comments on it. You know, your place is not here. Come join us. Come and be among us. Do not dwell amongst those who rapeth the goats. May Allah have mercy on him. May Allah accept them as murderers, but these are innocent souls. Anyway, he contributed to the killing of 3,000 civilians, including innocent people and possibly children and the elderly who had no business or support in America's dirty and unjust policy. So how is he considered a mujahid?
Hey, dude.
There is
That's
no power, no strength except with Allah. The comments are scary. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm wondering why no one brings that up as a response to the war between Israel and Gaza. To be clear, I think you should do everything you can to minimize civilian casualties and so on. But the reasoning of Muslims is entirely correct from an Islamic perspective, in that when you complain about killing innocent civilians, those are not innocent civilians. One, you got tons of like kuffar and so on. So unbelievers are not innocent in Islam. But completely separately from that, in Islam, Muhammad said that it's not just the warrior, the jihadi who gets the reward. It's whoever pays for that person to equip him to go out and fight. That person gets the same reward. In other words, if you're going out to fight, 7th century Arabia, if you're going out to fight, I'm not going out to fight, but I buy you your sword and your armor so that you can go out and fight, then I get the same reward that you get. I get the same reward that you get. So in Islam, there's this concept that it's not just the combatant who does the combating. It's all the people who made it possible for that combatant to go and do what he did. They get the exact same reward. So they use this reasoning and saying, hey, those people in those towers, those are not innocent civilians. Those are taxpayers. Those taxpayers fund the U.S. government, which then bombs Muslims. So they fund the U.S. soldiers. They fund the U.S. military. They all get the equal reward. What is the penalty for making mischief? Surah 5, verse 33. What's the penalty for making mischief in a Muslim land? Death. Who's making mischief in Muslim lands? The U.S. military, Israel, places like that. Okay, so if the U.S. and Israel are making mischief, their militaries are making mischief, who actually enables those governments and those militaries to make mischief in Muslim lands? The taxpayers, the regular citizens, the people who vote these leaders into power, the people who pay the bills, who pay for the missiles, all that. So you're not innocent. You're all guilty. You are all part of this system. Okay, so that's standard reasoning. They get that. Why doesn't anyone put that back on the population of Gaza and say, hey, according to your own prophet, the people who go across the border and slaughter a bunch of Jews are not the only ones responsible. The people who put those guys into power and support them and hide them and fund them, they are equally responsible for what's going on. And therefore, these civilians, according to your own doctrine, are all part of this, and therefore stop complaining. Again, just to say it, I think civilian casualties should be minimized, but I don't know why no one points out their own position as a response to their complaints. In other words, you're complaining, oh, look, they're killing these people who have nothing to do with it. No, according to your own religion, those guys are equally responsible as the terrorists. They're equally responsible according to your own prophet. So anyway, I don't know, but you see it here. They're saying the same thing.
Yeah. You actually have one person here who says, among all of these goat rapists, you have one person here who says something smart and who actually notices, who stops for a second and thinks, wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute, guys. We keep saying ISIS does not represent us, but what's with these comments, guys? This Khalid 10, who suspiciously looks like that one actor, Cillian Murphy, he says the comments are scary. Then they say ISIS does not represent us. Here's the one person who actually makes the very, very obvious point. The rest of them keep raping the goats, and it's sad. It's sad, but it's good to see that one person is actually there. One person there does not like goats.
And this is relevant, by the way, because if you go back to like Obama and when ISIS was springing up and so on, the claim was 99.9% of Muslims are against all of this stuff. It's like such a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of Muslims who support this stuff. And then you'll see what happens after this, or you'll see what happens. You saw it multiple times over, like after Salman Rushdie was stabbed a bunch of times. You saw the reactions. It would be like 400 people praising the attacker, and then one guy going, "Wait a minute, I thought we weren't supposed to support terrorism." It's like, I'm not sure about that 99.9% peaceful nonsense you guys keep spouting.
That is very, 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 very much true. Karen Fisher here made a super chat of $100 and said, "We remember the 2,977." Thank you so much, Karen. Somebody asked earlier, can somebody explain Karen Fisher's comment? Yes, this is the number of people who died on September 11th, 2,977, which excludes the 19 terrorists who died. So this is the number of people who died except for the terrorists. That's what it is. Thank you for that reminder, Karen Fisher. Appreciate it very, 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 very much. Very much. Very, very much. Very much. When he's a 10 and the Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he's a 10 and the Amir al-Mu'mineen, but he's got 10 terabytes full of National Geographic uncensored. Shut up. This is, by the way, a good reminder that when they confiscated Osama bin Laden's belongings, they found a huge load of, no pun intended, of
I got to get off this channel, man.
They found a huge amount of adult entertainment videos in the possession of Osama bin Laden that he apparently really liked.
He liked his porn.
That he liked watching. I haven't looked into what kind of stuff he was watching.
I moved to Pakistan. You know what they're into.
I don't know what kind of stuff he was watching. I suspect that it was probably mostly with different animals, like goats and donkeys and whatever it is.
Just like mom and dad.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Islamic terrorist, the leader of Islam, the honorable, wonderful goat rider, had a huge collection of pornographic videos in his possession, with which he kept himself busy as he was hiding and waiting for America to come and finally kill him as he deserved. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, Muhammad eats cats and dogs. Fact check true. They're eating the dogs.
Muhammad, he was eating the dogs. He said, kill the dogs. He said, kill the dogs. We love dogs. Muhammad said, kill the dogs. And then he ate them.
DC Isaac said, that's not a nice thing to say about Kim Kardashian. I don't know if you're joking or if that's... I heard that before. I hope you're joking. About the films in his possession. Ayatollah Khamenei, bread is the Mike Winger of the food pyramid. That's true.
White bread. White Wonder Bread.
Abu Baker al-Puff Daddy, rip all innocent victims, rest in peace, all innocent victims of 9/11 and NYPD FDNY. Indeed, indeed, indeed. And much respect to all the police and fire department and everyone who was there.
They ran up into that building, both those buildings.
Earlier, somebody asked and said, genuine question. And where was that? Where was that? I marked it somewhere. Said, genuine question. What did you actually feel AP 20? Oh, here. Courage, what was 20 years ago AP feeling during 9/11? The thing is, I don't know, sometimes the mind is a little bit self-deceiving, and I want to believe that I wasn't, that I didn't have a terrible or a bad reaction to September 11th. But the only thing that I remember was that my mother called me and said, "Hey, look at this." And as soon as she saw the events of the planes flying into the building, she was telling me briefly what happened. And then as soon as she saw it, like, we don't even have any updates on what's going on, she started saying that this is probably America and the Jews engaging in an operation to blame it on Muslims, and then to basically punish the Muslims as an excuse. That's what my mother said to me as it was happening. As it was happening. And and I thought, I did think it was that sounded a little bit absurd. I thought to myself, how would you even know that? I always had this reaction to people making speculations. I did, however, have this attitude, which I adopted from my Muslim environment, of dismissing 9/11, sadness, and basically also deflecting. I'm pretty sure that I did respond to somebody by saying, "Well, what about Iraq? What about what happens to Muslim countries?" or something like that. When I was a teenager at that time, an early teenager. So, actually, I was very, very young and stupid. Yeah, that's what you grow up with in the Muslim world. And nowadays, I'm an enemy of Islam, alhamdulillah. That's what they do.
Allah moves in mysterious ways.
Yeah. Allah guides and misguides whom He wills. Alhamdulillah. Nick said, didn't they find Israeli Mossad passport after 9/11? Yeah, they probably found it somewhere in Israel. Yeah. Ayatollah Khamenei, you guys know any good spaghetti squash recipes? Yes. Dash said, CP had the best stream today, 1 Shia versus 4 Sunnis. Really? That's weird.
She is super based.
That is very...
It is totally based.
Upper Baker, Alpuff Daddy, rest in peace victims, 9/11/22/12. In Libya, Ambassador Chris Stevens, DSS Officer Sean Smith, Navy SEALs Glenn Doherty, and Tyrone Woods, no one held accountable. Space Cadet, AP moves into David's garage when we're in the process of that right now. Ayatollah Khamenei, a lot of people ask me, Ayatollah, how do you keep your obliques so sharp and have the prowess of 50 men? My answer is spaghetti squash. This is a good tip for everyone watching. My friend left Islam, said Cam, because he found out Muhammad called a black guy a raisin head. Thank you, David and AP. Came back to Christ. He's a semi-pro boxer. The funny thing is...
well, the funny thing is he's got Andrew Tate there as his picture. The Jewish Andrew Tate.
The funny thing is, I don't actually think much about the hadith in which Muhammad refers to black people or a black man as one whose head looks like a raisin, except I think it's quite a crude way to describe a black person, and also probably displays what the general population thought about black people and how he himself didn't also happily adopted that way of thinking when describing black people. The ironic aspect of it is that the hadith is about obeying your leader, your caliph, and even if he is a black guy whose head looks like a raisin, you should still obey him. So it's now conflicting. Like, okay, so he says that even if it's a black guy, you should obey him. But on the other hand, he's also describing them as people whose heads look like raisins.
Yeah. So the idea is, if he's saying you have to obey your leader, even if he's the last person in the world you would ever want to obey, this generally shows, yes, in his community, like the worst possible thing you could be. The last person you would ever think could give you an order would be a black person whose head looks like a raisin, according to these guys. And like, that's the last person you would ever, and I'm telling you, if that guy becomes your leader, you even have to obey him. So yeah, it is this weird, hey, even obey that guy, but it shows like the culture. That's the last person in the world anyone of these guys would ever think about obeying.
Yeah. When Muhammad saw a black person, his response was, "Ew. Brother, ew. What's that?" Leather straps off the vertical smile said, "Momo is boom boom room, but Mo looks at you eating a banana." Gorno's bulldozer in Alidawa's and Tate's voice. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers.
Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers.
I don't even get the reference.
Me neither.
Crow, how did the Jews react to 9/11? That's a good question. How did the Jews react? David, have you seen all those videos of those Jews reacting to 9/11?
Yeah, they were dancing in the streets and stuff. That's what I keep hearing. I keep hearing that from Muslims. What?
It's a good question. Maybe present a video of how Jews reacted to 9/11. Lots of them probably thought maybe this will lead to Americans and others understanding what we experience and what we go through all the time, which would be understandable. Unfortunately, they were wrong. It led to the opposite, actually.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. Like, yeah, you would think, because that's what they went through, and that was the basis behind building the fences and everything. It was just terrorist attacks were regular, like buses, cafes. You had no concept of security. Anytime you're just walking around, going about your life, you could get blown up. That's the goal of terrorism. Make it so that you never you never have a moment of real rest. So the idea is, hey, okay, now the terrorist attacks are happening in the U.S. Maybe they'll catch on to how messed up this stuff is. Wrong, because over here you had the power of Islamophobia, right?
Yeah.
Where anytime you criticized Islam, you were considered an Islamophobe. And so what actually happened in the West was everyone, every politician, every journalist, every educator, every entertainer had to show how not Islamophobic they are. And so everyone started praising Islam, and every news show would get Muslim speakers on to explain how none of this has anything to do with Islam, and Islam condemns all this. And they basically opened up the TV stations, the radio stations, all of this for Islamic dawah. And that's why after every single terrorist attack, everyone, 9/11, the 7/7 bombing, after every terrorist attack, there were these waves of new converts to Islam. Why? Because people were being bombarded with the idea that Islam is wonderful and it's good, and they're being exposed to Muslim preachers who are just giving more airtime. And so the actual takeaway in the West was, hey, the more terrorist attacks you launch, the more will help you propagate Islam. So it was a massive encouragement. Hey, guys, keep blowing us up. Keep plowing trucks into us. The more you do, the more we'll promote Islam. We will help the entire Dawah community if you just terrorize us. So bomb us, blow us up, shoot us, stab us in the throats, everything, do anything you want. We will respond by helping you spread your religion even more. So yes, we encouraged it.
Yeah. You had, of course, also reactions like these. The Al Arabiya poll, which had a poll which involved different countries, I think, in the Arab world. 220,000 respondents here from the Arab world about September 11th. This was done 10 years after the events. Some of the highlights, some of the details is only 14% believe that Osama bin Laden was behind the operation, according to the poll. Further, the survey results indicate that 23% see the events of September 11 as a terrorist act planned by Al-Qaeda, while 26% believe that Osama bin Laden had nothing to do with the attack. When respondents asked whether the attacks were justified or not, 38% of them answered that they were unjustified, while 36% disagreed with it. Still, I guess, better than 60% saying it was good. As for the popularity of Islam, 60% of those surveyed believed that the popularity of Islam had declined due to the events. Wrong. What was there else? Regarding the extent to which the daily lives of the... No, not this one. There was... Oh, yeah, here. Is the killing of Osama bin Laden a crime? As for the killing of Osama bin Laden, 16% considered it a crime. 48% considered it not a crime, while 36% refrained from answering. But 47% of Gulf citizens specifically did not consider the killing of bin Laden a crime. I mean, given the Arab world and some of the expectations you have, I would say it's still what a weird thing to say, but it's still not as bad as
Could be worse. Could be worse.
It could be much worse, right? 16% of the sample considered it a crime, indicating that if it were true, then 16% of the 300 million Arabs are terrorists, and this is an exaggerated number according to his analysis. That's funny for an Arab to say. You had results from... I had the source up earlier. I have somebody posted it in my replies as well. But when Palestinians were asked about 9/11, they had some very interesting things to say about it as well. By the way, while I'm looking for that very important update for you, David, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris for president.
Sweet. That's a shocker. I didn't know which way Taylor Swift was going to go, but now that I know,
that changes everything.
I'll have to become a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
That changes everything. Everything. Okay. This is from PBS, I believe. Percentage expressing their support to Al-Qaeda operations in 3 areas by region and party affiliation. It shows here, so regions, it's asked in the West Bank and in Gaza. When they ask about Al-Qaeda activities, 57% of Palestinians in the West Bank answered that they support Al-Qaeda activities in USA and Europe. 79% of Gazans said they support Al-Qaeda activities in USA and Europe. When it comes to Iraq, Al-Qaeda activities in Iraq, only 29% for West Bank and 39% for Gaza. When it comes to Jordan, only 13% and 11%. So the general idea is, what if they are attacking Europe and the US, then yeah, totally. We supported, man. We supported, bro. I had the source earlier here, but it would be nice to find it, and might look for that later on. But this is funny. I think this is it, but the funny thing is that it's called FAFO polls, FAFO polls.
Those are the best.
I'm pretty sure that this is it. Pretty sure that this is it. Al-Qaeda. Qaeda. Okay, yeah. Qaeda perceived as a resistance. What is a resistance movement? Or it's based on this.
You said it's based. You just said,
oh yeah,
you just
there it
said
is.
it's based.
There it is. Study conducted by Center for Strategic Studies, University of Jordan, February 2005, and so on. The 5 countries studied were Jordan, Syria, Egypt, Lebanon, and the occupied Palestinian territories. Yeah, so this is a research study directly within the region, where most Palestinian Arab respondents in 2005 showed support for Al-Qaeda terrorist activities in Europe and the USA. This is really, of course, the thing is, I would like to show something like this where the Palestinian Arabs express their support, most of them, for Islamic terrorism against Europe and America, including support for 9/11. And of course, I would use this to to give people the idea of how people in those Palestinian territories actually think, in expectations that this would change people's opinions further about Palestinians. However, the issue is that a lot of leftists will not change their minds because of this. Even if you have these leftist supporters of Hamas, even if you show them how many of these people support Islamic terrorism against Europeans and Americans, they will still not change their minds. They will still say, "Oh, look, it's okay. They deserve. It's okay. It's because they're being oppressed, so it's justified," and so on. That's funny. I have a cricket in here.
I can hear it.
Yeah, it's pretty loud. Pretty loud. Anyway, so that's that. That's that. But innocent civilians and stuff. Don't forget. Let's read some more super chats here. How the Jews? Hey AP, Merry 9/11. I know you're a kafir now, but don't you miss exchanging toy planes and fasting like it's Ramadan every year, like back in the day? Yeah, it was kind of cool celebrating 9/11 back then when I was based. I'm just kidding, of course. Don't take this seriously. Inshallah. Leather Straps of the Vertical Smile said, if you could show PM Netanyahu on live TV one Quran or Hadith, what would you show him? I would show him Quran 930. By the way, rest in peace to all victims of 9/11. Thank you.
I'd show him. The famous Hadith about the Jews, but I'm pretty sure he's familiar with that. That's pretty well known. He's probably less familiar with stuff that the Quran says.
You know what my problem? What my problem is, and my impression with
you've got multiple problems, dude.
I do. That's true.
This man has real problems.
My issue here, my issue would be, given the reactions that Israelis and the Israeli government and Israeli people give to things, if I showed the hadith about Muhammad prophesying the killing of Jews, if I showed that to Netanyahu, I suspect that he might give a response like, I don't believe that this is a true representation of Muslims and Islam in general, and something like that.
I know many good Muslims, and there are many millions of them here in Israel, living peacefully. We even have Muslims serving on the IDF, so...
It's just amazing to me that my whole life I learned that the Jews are these evil monsters and we will fight them and all that, and then I go to Jews and they're like, "Oh no, Islam is not
It's
the
wonderful.
problem."
Islam is great. It's the best thing ever.
And I don't know, man, what's wrong with you guys? Alpo Baker, Alpuff that. Oh yeah, but if I could show him one, it would probably be. I would show Quran chapter 98 verse 6 and 98 verse 7.
It's a good one, 6. Good one there.
Yeah.
Some good ones in Surah 5 as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My wife said AP is building his Agenda 2030 cricket farm. This is true. That's what you're hearing there. You will hear many more crickets in the future on my live streams. That's part of the plan here. Apple Baker, Al Puff Daddy, rest in peace, United Flight 93, who fought jihad in the skies. That was the one where they actually tried to overcome the terrorists, right?
Yeah, that's one where they stormed the cockpit.
Yeah.
And the Muslims went in and crashed it.
Yeah. Hu Jintao, a Jew cut birthday cake in Israel at the same time when the World Trade Center towers appeared. Whoa. I'm just asking questions before it becomes illegal. Nice one. Buddy Rabbit, I've always wanted to open a tropical drink cart like Dole's and call it the Aloha Snack Bar. I'd sell Boston coconut shots and a 2-for-1 margarita yard deal. Explosive deals in September and April. This is a very relevant comment, especially in relation to September 11th. Thank you for that.
Aloha Snack Bar is a good idea, though.
Yes. Ayatollah Khamenei, Kamala, I've seen the worst of crime. Yeah, Willie Brown's downstairs doesn't count, unfortunately, sweetheart. The funny thing is, when I was watching the debate, her closing statement I heard the closing statement, and I had to immediately chuckle and think of things that people
You're not
say.
supposed to chuckle. You're supposed to cackle.
I heard how she responded, and I immediately thought that I got a little bit of anxiety as soon as she started with her closing speech, and it was kind of weird because this is how she
He has anxiety.
started. But let's see. This is how.
Again, David Muir.
Shut up, David.
Yeah,
And
shut
we
up.
can but we're not back. One that is
Wait, what's
Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come for closing statements, and Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
I think that guy's a machine.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes.
Wait, wasn't it the closing speech? I thought she started the closing speech with, I started my career as a prosecutor.
Oh, was that her intro?
Maybe that was an intro. I don't know.
Hey, did you ever see Napoleon Dynamite?
Yes, a long time ago.
It reminds me of Pedro. He's running for class president. Napoleon Dynamite says, just tell them if they vote for you, all their wildest dreams will come true. He gets up there. And I just want to say that if you vote for me, all your wildest dreams will come true. It sounds like every politician nowadays.
Anyway, I got that wrong. Apparently, I thought it was the closing speech. Yes.
Hey, if you're wrong about that,
what else are you wrong about?
What else?
You see, the Jews will stop paying you now because. Guys, did you talk about Mohammed Shahzeb Khan, who was recently arrested for plotting shooting at Jewish center in New York on anniversary of Hamas attack?
Why
Don't
would we
have
talk
much.
about that when there's no way that any of that's true.
Don't have much.
Muslims love Jews, and Islam is a religion of peace.
Department of Justice. Pakistani national charged for plotting terrorist attack in New York City in support of ISIS. September 6, 2024, 5 days ago. Mohammed Shahzeb Khan, also known as Shahzeb Jadun, attempted to enter the United States to carry out a mass shooting at a Jewish center in New York City. Huh. That might be something worth looking into.
I didn't even hear about that.
It's directly here on the page of the Department of Justice.
Oh, a Pakistani. Shocker.
Mohammed Shahzeb Khan, Jewish center. Mohammed, don't you have goats to copulate with? What's your problem, man?
He'll be copulating a lot now in prison.
Not with goats, though.
Nope.
Dylan said
with Big Bubba.
the debate was
Big Bubba.
The debate was 1 + 1 + 1 against 1. According to Muslims, do we have to say it was fair? That's funny. That's funny.
Say not 3.
The funny thing is, when I was live earlier with Jay Dyer, he was at the end he was responding to Muslims who talk about the Trinity. Then he put up he took his whiteboard and wrote a few things on it, and then he said, "So here, 1 × 1 × 1 = 3." And then he was like, "Oh, wait a minute." Then he put it down and corrected it, but I thought it was a good moment for Muslims to clip and say, "You see." D. Boudreau, the first person to die in 9/11 revenge was an Arizona Sikh. Another was arrested at a train station. Americans could not even identify Muslims back then. True. Still happens, by the way.
Yeah, and we were all warned that there was going to be this huge backlash of Muslims being killed in the streets, and we were told that every single time after every terrorist attack that there was going to be this huge backlash, and that's why we all need to show our support for Islam to avoid that bloodbath response. But instead, jihadis kept killing people, and we kept promoting Islam. It's a brilliant strategy.
it's funny that when an Islamic terrorist attack happens, the initial response has been consistently for quite some time now. Oh, but please don't be Islamophobic. Please, not all Muslims. That's what
You
we're-
remember, you remember Norm Macdonald?
Yeah.
That was funny. Said, he said, my biggest fear is what if ISIS gets in and actually launches a nuclear bomb and kills millions of people? Imagine the backlash against peaceful Muslims.
Yeah. The Max said the frenemy problem. CIA did it. CIA killed it because of Russian communist expansionism or oil pipelines. Anyhow, Islamism helps. Yep, totally, absolutely. Buddy Rabbit L take. Anyway, Muhammad ate bananas for the shape. He did. That's true. But UL take. Ayatollah Khamenei, David Wood. I thought they did a good job as moderators. Unbelievable self-implosion. L. Utterly wingified. Wow, they're humiliating you, man.
Mm-hmm. No, they did a good job apart from the one-sided fact-checking and challenging points. And I say that because we've seen moderators who cannot maintain any level of order. We saw that 4 years ago. We saw a moderator who couldn't maintain any level of order. They kept things nice and flowing and orderly, which I think is would be a good job, apart from the one-sided challenges.
So you actually think that the moderation and the fact checking and everything was perfectly done by the
It was all perfect. The moderators could not have been better in any possible way.
Wow, you heard it here. Apple Baker said, "Rest in peace, Rick Rescorla, 9/11/2001, who safely led all 2,700 employees of Morgan Stanley out of World Trade Center 1." Rick saying, "Man of Cornwall" during this. It's good. It's good detail.
So, you see, Morgan Stanley was behind the attacks. How did they all get out of there? You see.
Yeah, you see, this is the banks. Ayatollah Khamenei, we are the world. We are the world.
We are
the
children.
Why?
We are the world. We are the children.
Vlad, AP, you said that you will have Winger instead of David Wood. Yeah, it didn't work out, so I had to go to David Wood instead again for tonight. Unfortunately, we'll try harder next time. Goku says Winston Churchill killed millions in Bengal famine. Look, here's the thing, Goku. A human in charge of an entire country can make mistakes. And some of those mistakes might be huge mistakes and amount to great suffering in the world. And yes, surely, Winston Churchill's decisions in respect to Bengal and the things that were going on there, reducing the aid and channeling actual, food supplies.
Why are you stuttering?
Through the war, to the war efforts, what probably did contribute to famines and all of that. However, if you keep that in mind and therefore vilify Winston Churchill altogether, that just doesn't really sit right, because here is the issue. Humans are complex. One can do some really, really bad things. On the other hand, also do some really, really heroic things. Winston Churchill is a key figure who turned around the war when the United Kingdom was on the brink, on the verge of being subdued and of losing its independence for the first time in its history, when it was about to become a Nazi puppet, a subject, when the British population was about to be massacred entirely. He took over and he turned it around despite the odds and led the nation to victory and defeated the Nazi Empire. You know, if the other side of it was terrible, yes, we can acknowledge that. However, we can't diminish what the guy actually did. This is why he is so beloved. That's what they say.
He was based.
And also, I see that your name is Goku. You're not a true Super Saiyan, just so you know. David has no idea what that is.
Think about all the people hurt by Goku. Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, you do know what the Dragon Ball? Okay, fine. I forgot.
I remember. Yeah, I had to find this stuff out from the "It's over 9,000" clip. Over 9,000.
I've actually been watching the Dragon Ball Z series lately, so I'm kind of right in there. Shut up, Anthony. FEMA 1994 MLD said the poisonous victim mentality ritual in Islam is permeating throughout the text. It makes the mind constantly perceives imaginary enemies. This is true. This is absolutely true. This is important to keep in mind. It is something that is very fundamental to Islam, while being aggressive, being hateful, but also playing the victim the entire time.
You sick in the mind?
Yeah, David, what do you think?
Absolutely. You see this built into Islam, and also like the hypocrisy that you can see it in the exact same sources. Look, they won't take us. They won't let Muslims take the pilgrimage to Mecca. You see how they're oppressing us? And then as soon as Muslims take over, no, non-Muslims can take the pilgrimage to Mecca. Ha ha. It's like, wait, that's exactly what you condemn them for, what you condemn unbelievers for. And then you do the exact same thing. And so, yeah, we're victims until we're in control, and then we crush and destroy everyone else and do all the stuff that if they were doing it to us, we'd claim to be victims.
You see, that's the truth. My wife said he makes me watch Dragon Ball Z. This is actually true. So, this is true. And I don't regret anything. Don't regret anything at all. Alhamdulillah. Then there are people like Truth Hurts who say Churchill was as bad as Hitler, IMO.
That's idiotic, but that's becoming a trend. People who are too stupid to know anything about history get all their information from TikTok, and then, Osama bin Laden was a good guy. Churchill, I mean, come on. He's the worst person ever, except for, he's tied with Hitler.
Look, every time I kind of tell myself that I don't want to do this, and I don't want to respond to people like this. However, when I read something like this, it's just, I just want to call it stupid. I want to call the person who makes such a suggestion stupid. I don't want to be the person to say it, but this is just so incredibly dumb. Okay? This is so incredibly dumb. It is so stupid. As bad as Hitler? Are you kidding me?
Pretty dumb.
Hitler is the guy who directly orchestrated, planned for decades, the complete removal of Jews, focused on that group, blamed them for everything, then actually carried out, under his leadership, the mass killing of Jews, putting them in concentration camps, supposedly deporting them and then having them killed, and so on. What did Churchill do? Oh, you are one of those India people. Okay, well, here's the thing: nobody cares about your opinion when it comes to the Second World War. So, hope you're fine. Hope you're happy with that. Alhamdulillah. Ayatollah Khamenei bin Laden sounding awfully pious. But that hard drive, though, that's the problem, yeah. Moroni Holmes says, I've been following Jay Dyer for 5+ years. Excellent thinker. No offense, David. Yeah.
How dare you? You will only say that Jay Dyer is a non-excellent thinker in my presence. Moroni. Yeah. Take the I off that name. Yeah. How's that feel? Well, don't insult me.
Sunrise in Paradise, to be fair to Hitler, he hated everyone, Jews, Russian, Gypsies, etc. Yeah, you could say, yes, he did hate everyone. He also hated humans, he hated humanity in general, according to Goebbels. The issue is that he specifically hated Jews and thought that they were behind everything. No other people are mentioned as often as Jews in his book. And he didn't mention any other group of people as much as he mentioned Jews. He might have even mentioned them more than Germans. So, that's the problem. I've been following Jay Dyer. Jay Dyer is very good. Have been really liking doing streams and talking to that guy forever. I must say there are very few people in the world that I interact with where I think this guy is super smart and super knowledgeable.
Yep, just me and Jay Dyer.
And I must say Jay Dyer is one of those people that I would think although I would consider myself intelligent and knowledgeable, I would say I don't even come close in both of those to Jay Dyer. I actually have lots of admiration for that guy.
It's actually super cool that you have various background Christian apologists and so on who are now directing some of their time, some of their significant time to dealing with Islam. And again, it's mainly the Dawa guys we have to thank for that, because for some reason, an endless array of terrorist attacks did not do it. It didn't do it. The Dawa guys coming along, thumping their chest, we're going to humiliate you all. That somehow did it. So hats off to the Dawa guys. They awakened the beast.
Hey, look at this. Look at this coming here from our dear friend Muslim Cowboy. Muslim Cowboy.
Well, I'll read it. I remember the day I found out Muslims had nothing to do with 9/11, and it changed my perspective forever. Seek the truth. And the truth is, we need to bang little girls, and the Jews did 9/11. Yahoo!
Muslim Cowboy, we already know that you're retarded. You don't have to point it out again, okay?
Muslims had nothing to do with 9/11.
He has to do this every time. He has to remind us again and again. We already know. We know you. We know you have a problem.
Hey!
What?
Look at the number of likes he got compared to the number of. I mean, this guy sometimes gets like tens of thousands of likes and so on when he says Jesus was a Muslim. Now I'm gonna go out and do dawah at the Monster Truck and Tractor Rally, where Trucker Pillar is facing Fordzilla. Yeehaw! 118 likes.
People don't like it. That's good. That's good to see. Or people just don't care. I don't know. Whenever I think of Muslim Cowboy, I just think of some creepy guy wanting to have sex with little children, and I just can't get past.
We're not exaggerating, guys. He's that little girl's a full-grown woman where I come from in Islam. Yeah.
Scum. GoTop said here on GoTop, we have Muslim men hitting our twins all the time. Seriously, first off, number one, what's wrong with you, GoTop? Number two, how do you come up with these lines? You should be in advertisement or something.
It's got to be AI, right? They have some sick, evil AI. There's some site out there called like Sick, Twisted, Evil AI, and you just say, hey, I want to really say the least appropriate things ever, and then it just starts giving.
Hu Jintao, Muslim Jews don't want Muslim Iran to get nukes. Also, Muslim Jews are infiltrating Muslim migrants to nuclear powers, US, UK, France, to destabilize and Islamize these nations. None of it makes any sense, man. It's like the same thing you hear from the gropers and neo-Nazis and all that. And from them you would expect a little bit more reason, like a little bit more sense, a little bit more reason. But even they come with these whole stupid theories. It's the Jews are behind immigration. The Jews are trying to get all of these Muslim immigrants into the West. Really? So they want all of those people to come to those countries which the Jews are allied to, so that the Muslims then have all the power in the world, so that the Muslims can then go to their final ultimate goal, as Muhammad promised it, and eradicate the Jews. Does that really make sense? If so, then the Jews must be incredibly stupid. And that's not very consistent with your idea that the Jews are these evil geniuses. So, I don't know, man. Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense anymore.
Plus, when you have these discussions with these idiots, they talk about, look at this, look at all those groups that push immigration in the West. Yes, the biggest religious group that pushes immigration in the West is actually Catholics. The biggest religious organizations that push immigration and open border policies in the West are Catholics, not Jews. So, are we saying that Catholics are behind everything?
You see, Catholics are working with the Jews and the jihadis.
The funny thing is also that the gropers pretend to be Catholics, right? It's like maybe this is the plan all along. Maybe they're trying to deflect. Maybe they're trying to distract us by talking about the Jews, so that we don't talk about the real problem, which is the Catholics.
The real conspiracy.
Man. Tim May made a super sticker. Thank you so much. Appreciate it very, very, very muchos. Buddy Rabbit said Muhammad also ate bananas for the shape. That's true. That Muhammad too, yes. D, what's up, D? Did you see that 2 different Pakistanis were arrested in the last week for plotting terror attacks in the U.S., one in Canada and the other linked to Iran?
Is that
you should send me those two information.
different? Is that different from the synagogue one that we saw?
Maybe, I don't know. Should send me details of those. Would like to check it out. But somebody already pointed out, Pastor Prime said it's the Irish. The Irish are actually in control of America and the West in general. So that's who is in charge. Jews talk is just a big distraction. Edward Nestorenko, Mike Winger was there on 9/11. I'm just asking questions. Why is no one else? Well, why is it forbidden to ask questions? Why wouldn't they allow you to ask about Mike Winger and 9/11? See,
and notice the media isn't talking about this. Why? Because Mike Winger controls the media.
That's what they do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Lila Square, does Islam have a single real martyr? Someone murdered solely due to the profession of their faith, or just those killed in their own act of violence? This is the funny difference that I was kind of... when I found out how martyrs are described in Christianity and in Christian tradition, and how martyrs are generally described and who is a martyr in Islamic tradition, I thought, wait a minute, this is interesting. This is an interesting contrast here, where in Christianity you have people killed for their faith, because of their faith, persecuted and killed, and in Islam you have those who go and kill and are then killed in the process of killing others to make them convert to Islam. I mean, you could argue that from the Islamic perspective, there were some early Muslims who allegedly were persecuted after Muhammad became incredibly threatening toward the polytheists of Mecca. Of course, it was totally not the fault of Muhammad. It was the fault of those polytheists. Other than that, no, the tradition of martyrs is totally different in Islam than it is from Christianity.
Yeah, to be clear, you have had people go kill Muslims just because they're Muslims and attack a Muslim community and so on. That those things have happened and so on. Yeah, but the main dominant concept of a martyr in Islam is someone who gets killed while waging jihad, while fighting the unbelievers, and then you get killed.
Jihad. Ayatollah Khamenei, if we get an end of the world scenario where we have a Planet of the Apes type situation, but it's goats gaining intelligence instead, I think Islam and all of Arabia is pretty well cooked. This is true. They should make a movie, Planet of the Goats, and then
the goats rise up and they're like, "We will get revenge for what they have done to us." How's that feel? ISIS?
Somebody said ISIS sounds like a very feminine name. The funny thing is, when ISIS started emerging and becoming a problem with the terrorist attacks, I was kind of always disappointed for... Not because people were dying. I don't care about that.
Hey, AP, what do you think about ISIS rising up and making all these female sex slaves and slaughtering all these people and stuff? How do you feel about this? I was disappointed. The more I hear about that ISIS, the more I don't care for them.
Well, the thing is, I was more disappointed not because of the killing. That's not something that I really like. I don't care about that. My issue was more with the change of the name ISIS and what it represents, because I've always had this thing. There was this, like, in my school times, I had this interesting thing, like this interest for Egyptian mythology. And the Egyptian goddess Isis and all that, and the different roles there. So to me, Isis represented that. But then when the terrorist organization ISIS started rising, they kind of took all the attention when it comes to ISIS off of the Egyptian goddess and started to turning it into an Islamist terrorist name.
That was
so I thought, hey, come on, man.
Yeah, that
Like
was
killing
inflammatory.
people, burning people alive. I mean, all of that, I get it, but really, why would you do this to the name of ISIS? Anyway, style and rail woodworking. Why do Muslims flock to the U.S. if it's so evil? Well, it's like when negatives and positive attract each other and something like that. Yeah. Go Tom. We saw you skip our super chat AP, not based.
It is totally based.
Yakov Kratzberg said in Gaza and West Bank they handed out candies. That's what they do. Hu Jintao, shilling words from Muslim students to Jewish writer David Horowitz. Link in live chat now. Super chat disables the link. I remember that video, but it's always worth playing again. You probably know the video, right? You know the video.
Oh, where that girl, that dumb girl, for it or against it.
Why are you calling all girls dumb? What's your problem?
I think about all girls dumb, just the vast majority.
Good evening. Just wanted to say thank you for coming to campus tonight and presenting your point of view. It's always valuable to have two sets of views going on at the same time. Very useful. My name is Jumana Imad Musa Ahmed Al-Bahri, and I'm a student here at UCSD.
Can you please repeat your name?
Ahmed Al-Bahri. Very useful. My name is Jumana Imad Musa Ahmed Al-Bahri.
Thank you.
And I'm a student here at UCSD. I was reading your literature. I found that much more interesting than the talk. And I found some interesting things about the MSA, which is an organization that's very active on campus, and it is hosting our annual Hitler Youth Week. You should come out to those events. If you could clarify the connection between the MSA and jihad terrorist networks, because last I checked, we had to do our own fundraising, and we never get help from anyone. So if you could clarify the connection between UCSD's MSA, or if you don't have such information, if you could connect other MSAs on UCs, because the connection wasn't too clear in the pamphlet. Just if you could clarify.
Will you condemn Hamas here and now?
This is one of those brilliant videos because he knows exactly what this woman is all about. So he just cuts right through the bullshit and just comes directly to the question here.
If you could clarify.
Okay. Will you condemn Hamas here and now?
I'm sorry, what?
Will you condemn Hamas
Would I condemn Hamas?
as a terrorist genocidal organization?
Are you asking me to put myself on a cross?
So you won't. I actually have had this experience many times. You didn't read the pamphlet.
Who was put on a cross? What are you alluding to?
Yeah. And she will clarify now.
In verse. The main connection is that the MSA is part of the Muslim Brotherhood Network as revealed in the documents.
I don't think you understood what I
Anyway,
meant by that.
this
I
is-
meant if I say something, I'm sure that I will be arrested for reasons of Homeland Security. So if you could please just answer my question.
If you condemn Hamas, Homeland Security will
If I
arrest you.
support Hamas, because your question forces me to condemn Hamas. If I support Hamas, I
Well,
look really
If you don't
bad.
condemn Hamas, obviously you support it. Case closed. I've had this experience, I had this experience at UC Santa Barbara where there were 50 members of the Muslim Students Association sitting right in the rows there. And throughout my hour talk, I kept asking them, will you condemn Hezbollah and Hamas? And none of them would. And then when the question period came, the president of the Muslim Students Association was the first person to ask questions. And I said, before you start, will you condemn Hezbollah? And he said, well, that question is too complicated for a yes-no answer. So I said, okay, I'll put it to you this way. I'm a Jew. The head of Hezbollah has said that he hopes that we will gather in Israel so he doesn't have to hunt us down globally. For it or against it?
For it.
Thank you.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Who won that one?
There you go. One more time.
The head of Hezbollah has said that he hopes that we will gather in Israel so he doesn't have to hunt us down globally. For it or against it?
For it.
Thank you.
Hats off to her for answering.
Thank you for coming and showing everybody what's here. And you're wearing a terrorist neckerchief.
He tossed that in at
You
the end.
understood.
No, you didn't hear the lady.
Could you
ask a
please answer my question?
You don't get to make a speech.
That's it. Put them on the spot and they'll tell you exactly what they think. Terrorist. Terrorist.
And guys, think about the question. Wants the Jews to gather so you don't have to hunt down the Jews? Because keep in mind, very difficult if Jews are all over the planet and you have the goal of hunting them down and killing every last Jew, right? I mean, they're going to be hiding and stuff, and that's part of the prophecies of Muhammad. Imagine if they're all gathered in one place to make your job as Jew slaughterers easier for you. They're all in one place. So then you go in there and you just kill them all. For it or against it? For it. Hee hee hee.
I hope she keeps up this enthusiasm when the ones who believe in gathering the Jews and eradicating them are the ones who experience, don't even experience, but experience maybe a part of whatever they hope for. And this is one of those. This is the hypocrisy. It's like one side openly and repeatedly believes in eradicating the Jews. Right, the Islamic side believes openly and propagates eradicating the Jews. This is actually why we have this entire conflict. However, the Israeli side or the Jewish side cannot respond to this by, defending itself and saying, no, if it's an extermination war, then you will not do this to us. We will do it to you. That's not even thinkable. Like, Israel is not even the Jews are not even supposed to retaliate or even fight back when the other side wants to exterminate them, let alone saying, if you want to exterminate us, we will exterminate you. It would be only logical if somebody wants to kill me and insists on killing me, it would be completely logical that I, in self-defense, kill them before they can kill me. Right, if we are in this fight, Israel is not allowed to do that. If Israel can't even think about doing that, it will be considered unthinkable, genocidal, horrible, bad. This is what Jews are suspected to. This is what Jews are subjected to, and which is one of the many reasons why when people talk to me about the Jews, Israel, this and this hypocrisy, I just want to tell people to shut up, and shut up. Israel is not even doing a tenth of what they should be doing in response to the extermination war that they have been waging against Israel.
And not only that, not only can Jews not respond to that sort of thing, if anyone points it out and has a problem with it, you're instantly accused of being an Islamophobe. And now you have governments, Western governments across the board saying, how do we crack down on anyone who has a problem with this? We need entire government agencies in charge of dealing with and combating Islamophobia, where Islamophobia is anyone who has a problem with child marriage or slaughtering unbelievers in the name of Allah or calling for the extermination of Jews or the subjugation of Christians and so on. Wild stuff.
Absolutely wild stuff.
We need the Dawa guys to really amp up their efforts to get even more people responding to Islam.
Absolutely wild. Absolutely. I should have a hadith of the day thing. Hadith of the day post that I should always have up here when we are live. On the side when we're talking about regular things. That's what we should be looking at. I was thinking earlier of putting up the hadith about Jews and the Gargat tree. However, I thought there are better options. For today, I want to put up one that would be one of the food miracles of Islam. The food miracles of Islam. Also related to our topic. Let's see, where is that? Oh yeah, right here. Got it. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Let's put this up. It's one of the food miracles that I just want to have on screen so that people can be educated while we talk about regular things. The Prophet said, were it not for the children of Israel, meat would not decay. Were it not for Eve, no woman would ever betray her husband. These are very, very wise words by Muhammad. Alhamdulillah.
Good point.
He was so wise, so wonderful.
And little side note there, because this is one of the passages. Like Muslims will complain about the Christian doctrine of original sin, where decisions can affect the nature of people down through history. It's weird to object to it, because if your objection is to the idea that human beings have a built-in inclination to sin, I don't know of much there is where you have more empirical evidence of something being true than that. But the other issue is, you find this all over the place in the Muslim sources. Were it not for Eve, no woman would ever betray her husband. What is that saying? Because of what Eve did, women had an inclination to betray their husbands.
Alhamdulillah.
And if she hadn't done it, then it wouldn't exist. What's that mean? It means the inclination goes back to her. You have it in Islam.
Powerful words. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. MMA ring, David Wood versus Mojab. David Wood has speed and experience, inshallah.
Mojab has a glass jaw as well.
That one Jewish girl, hey, what's up with that one Jewish girl? Yo, AP, me and EA mighty collapse soon, inshallah. What is EA?
Egyptian atheist, man. Where you been? You talk about 24 hours a day.
Oh, that's good. Egyptian atheist has been a long-term friend. He's been very, very based. So, yeah. Eunuch Petsu, seriously, 9/11 was a result of USA's over-sinning. Yeah. Ayatollah Khamenei, AP, are you making them cricket noises, bro? Yeah, that's actually me. I'm doing them with my hands. That was the beginning of Dr. Breen's speech from the beginning of Half-Life 2. He sold out humanity to the Combine, basically. Oh my God, I forgot about that. That was like centuries ago. Tezbot, still people don't want to hear the truth, so ingrained. P.S. Is Chicago a good place to live? Trying to leave UK. No, it's not.
Rock the Tezbot. What?
Chicago is not a good place to live unless you have the means and the means to live in a good place in Chicago, in a suburb of Chicago.
It's basically like London. It's basically like London, in that there are places that are like disastrous war zones, and other places that are really expensive to live in. And if you can live in one of those, then you're okay.
Yeah, it has some really, really amazing places that are quite expensive. Most of it is just stuff that you don't want to be around. The ignorant Catholic said the police got double Germany's aid and are still poor. Double Germany's aid and are still poor. Well, it takes a lot of resources and effort to build a whole underground tunnel system to fight the Jews. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Fatwa, I'd like if you'd subscribe to the cricket. Yes, if you would subscribe to the cricket. Jesse, 2 top argument throwbacks about 9/11. Number 1, not all Muslims. Number 2, Islam Jihad not as bad as the Crusades. Oh my God. I'm kind of glad that I haven't heard that in a long time. Some of these stupid arguments that die out. I remember hearing dumb stuff like that. Like, what about the Crusades? Much more in the past than today. I haven't heard that really seriously in a long time.
Those are good throwback ones.
Yeah. What about the Crusades? The Crusades were based, man. Goat Trippers, Jiminy Cricket. Yeah. David probably thinks, no, Crusades were bad. Sid Dave, why are Jewish people not demanding access to Kaaba since Abraham went there? Somehow Christians and Jews don't seem to give a damn about the Kaaba. Yeah,
that's weird.
Because he didn't actually go there, but there was a funny thing. There was a video by this one Jewish guy who, I don't think he's actually a rabbi, but he was he's a very extreme guy who has like one or two supporters who thinks that Islam is the biggest problem. And although I agree with much of that, the guy was a little bit extreme. But he had this whole attitude, and he has a video from a long time ago where he says that we can actually find support for the idea that Abraham did go down to Kaaba and to Mecca, and he did build the Kaaba, which would mean that it is ultimately, or that it's actually our ancestry that goes back to that land, which is why I suggested we should go and take it over. He was making that suggestion, but the guy is a little bit crazy and a little bit extreme. The funny thing is that Muslims, not seeing what the guy is doing, have been occasionally posting that clip to see, look at this, look at what Jews think, look at the Jews' plans.
It's the proof.
It's so dumb, man. Abraham has no connection to Mecca at all. Nothing at all. That's an Islamic invention.
I still remember when we reviewed that clip and they were trying to argue that that one Muslim Dawa guy, he was arguing, oh, but remember, the Bible says that David had to flee from Saul. Where do you think he went? Mecca. That's where David went. It's in there. You know exactly where David went to hide from Saul. But it was the idea that he goes all the way. David, I got to run from this guy. Let me run all the way down here. And then also when they were claiming that that various Bible verses are talking about going down there, or that Seir actually refers to a hill in Medina and not to the Mount Seir that everyone else is familiar with. And so when it was, Mount Paran, they said Mount Paran refers to actually down there, and not to the Mount Paran that everyone else is familiar with. And you put it on a map, remember? So
yeah.
And it says they fled to Egypt by going past Paran. You put out how insane it would be to go all the way down to all the way down into Arabia to go over to Egypt. Anyway,
I remember that live stream. That was very,
fun.
very nice.
That was fun.
That was That was good times. That was when I crashed the party at Hamza's den and talked to them about the Kaaba, and they really got mad at me and kicked me. That was pretty smart. Pretty smart move from them.
Rock the Kaaba. Rock the Kaaba.
AP, do you agree with the fact that most ex-Muslims were actually good Muslims? I don't know. I can't make any judgment on that. Not sure. I do not know. Depends on who we're talking about. I can't say nothing. Jack Ray, City 17, the right man in the... Oh, you have a Half-Life symbol right there in your name. That's funny. The right man in the wrong place can make all the differences in the world. For AP, Half-Life 2, the nerd knows, though. Yeah. I was never a big player of those things. Noel made a super chat. Thank you so much. Netanyahu should challenge Paleth that a Paleth state will be created once a Paleh wins a Nobel Prize in any science-related field. End of the conflict. That's a good challenge. Do you notice how the Jews control the Nobel Prizes, because they seem to get them all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They seem to get, like, Jews get all the Nobel Prizes and the Palestinians don't get anything. This just shows that Jews control it. Wallahi, I am saying, said David, aren't Jews colonizers according to Bible? Which is a totally sane comment here.
It's extremely sane.
What a stupid thing to say. Noel, damn, forgot my message. I was going to say, tell a joke. It's better for you, referencing the beginning of the show. That's true. That is true. That is true. One of my favorite books that I read over the years is what's that? What was that? Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He was a...
Wait, wasn't he a Jew?
Yes, he was a Holocaust survivor, and he really goes into the psyche of people in a concentration camp and people who are about to die. And he was explaining how the Jews in the concentration camps, in extermination, about to be killed, pretty sure that they are going to die, would instead of giving into depression, resort to joking about their horrible state, and making jokes about, hey, you're next, and things like that, and explaining how even in that horrible situation, humor was something that they found a little bit of relief in, and all that. I don't know, it's a pretty sad book, but it explains a lot about the human psyche, and also explains in detail this phenomenon of when you see people being taken hostage, about to be killed, about to be shot, or killed in any other way. As an observer, seeing such videos, people often think, why aren't they running away? If I was in his place, I would just run away, because otherwise you're going to die anyway. It's clear you're going to die. They're going to kill you. And he explains that. He explains how in that situation, when you are bound and you are about to be killed, and it's pretty obvious that you are going to die, there is no getting out of this. A coping mechanism gives you the idea that you could still somehow get away, that your mind just doesn't want to accept that you are actually dying, and that something would happen and they would let you go, that this wouldn't be your final moment. So just sitting there and waiting for something good to happen seems to be the better option in your brain than trying to run away and then risking certain death and all that. I don't know, it's a very interesting book. Would always recommend reading it. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Very, very insightful. Fatwad, Miss Kamala, what accolades have you... Mrs. Kamala, what accolades have you achieved? What have you done, Miss Kamala? Mohammed Hijab. Ayatollah Khamenei, bro, why is Kamala's throat and neck muscles so pronounced? When Ayatollah Khamenei makes a super jet, I know exactly in what direction it's going. Lucid said, let us not forget that also on September 11, 1857, another cultist religion in Utah slaughtered innocents for their profit. Hey, stop talking trash about Mormons, man.
Yeah. Stay in your lane.
Yeah. We don't accept Mormonophobia here. Mormophobia. AP is a super saiyan Turk. When you make him angry, he goes blonde and has superhuman sussy ice cream twirling skills. Dude, I'm reserving this for when it's needed. Don't say it publicly here. I go like, Rah! And then my hair turns yellow. It's pretty cool. Ayatollah Khamenei, Daily Wire is finished. The Dyer era has begun.
Dyer.
A Dyer.
I wonder if that name is like, he came from a family of dyers. Like they dye things. They dye fabrics or something like that.
Or people who die. Just,
It's spelled different. Turkish.
But they didn't know how to
They
spell
know how
it.
to spell. Oh, yeah. Bad spelling people who die. Anyway.
Eunuch Petsu, Kamal's voice makes me to go to my wife in Dold per Momo. Yeah, that's what they do. Jewish Tate says Hitler's worst, fact check true. Alhamdulillah. There are some really disturbing news about Andrew Tate that
yeah, you saw it got pointed out that Tate News is now. I thought Tate News was like one of their buddies controlling that and stuff, and even that's posting some messed up stuff, saying we can't even post. Matter of fact, they said we can't even post the transcript of some of the discussions about that are being used in court for the Tate having sex with a 15-year-old girl. They said they can't even post it. It's so bad they would get banned. That's crazy.
I open my Twitter and I see this by Awesome Jew. Listen up, Jews. My wife left me. This is so stupid. I saw that he did actually, Lucas Gage, he did actually make a video in which he was talking in a very bitter way about how things have gone downhill for him and his wife did leave him.
Wait, who? Lucas Gage?
Lucas Gage.
Yeah. Oh, that's Lucas Gage?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't get the joke. I didn't get the joke because I didn't know what he looked like.
Yeah. His wife left him probably because he was crazy and all that. I don't know. Sad guy. Sad.
It was funny just as a picture, just as a meme. It was funny, but now that's different. Knowing that, what's that about?
I got stuck on the road once, and Jay Dyer changed my tires and paid for my child's college tuition. What a stand-up guy! Wow, that happened to me too. That's interesting. Everyone needs a Jay Dyer. See?
Yeah. Little do you know, Ayatollah, Mike Winger's the one who slashed your tires.
Whoa. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Probably mine too. Hu Jintao, AP, hey, what is you India people? I'm Indian too. 2.5 million Indians fought alongside UK against Nazis. You think your opinion doesn't matter? You think our opinion doesn't matter? I know. I know. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
when people come into this whole thing like, oh, Churchill bad because of a famine, you know, it sounds quite inappropriate, and I understand where you're coming from, but trying to then diminish everything about Winston Churchill and saying, "Oh, why don't you talk about the famine?"
Yeah,
it's just
if it weren't for Churchill, then the UK would all be speaking German right now. They would all be speaking German right now. With that said, if you say I don't like Winston Churchill because of these messed up things that he did, you're not going to hear a peep out of me. It's when you're he's basically the same as Hitler. That's a different because that's stupid. That's stupid, right? So in other words, when you're talking about stuff like that, you could talk about like the U.S. Look at what the U.S. did and all the people who starved in Iraq and so on. You could say that's messed up. And if you're there, you could say, hey, that was really messed up, and I really don't like the U.S. because of that. That makes perfect sense. When you say, look, the U.S. killed lots of people, Hitler killed lots of people, therefore, it's the same thing. No, they're quite different.
Yeah. So as you were pointing out, that account Tate News was one of the biggest supporters of Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate. But even they started posting. They apparently seem to have a change of heart and started posting that the Tates are in trouble and that the transcripts and the court documents seem really, really, really bad. The issue is that there is undeniable horrible stuff coming out of the courts, including a transcript that I only saw partially.
Hey, how long before Candace does another interview completely exonerating him? And I've looked at all this stuff, and I've decided I have to attack these girls because they're clearly in the wrong here. and the Tates did nothing, and that's why these girls are lying about them and hacking their phones to put all these messages on there. Freaking dope.
The whole day today, I was I have been thinking about what to say and whether even to mention it in a live stream or not. But it relates to Andrew Tate sexually violating a 15-year-old girl, and there are graphic details in there, which also the prosecutors present evidence of. So they wiretapped the girl's phone to obtain more evidence, which is something that they do if they think that the witness is being tampered with and manipulated, and intercepted conversations where she was telling her friend about the things that Andrew Tate did to her. And then they also took her in and searched her phone and found messages between Andrew Tate and the 15-year-old girl, where they describe the horrible things that he did to her. And it makes me sick, but I can't possibly sit down here and explain in detail what the court records actually say. I'm not sure how to deal with that.
Should record a discussion of it and stick it on Twitter, not on here or on Rumble.
Yeah. The thing is, I also don't want to personally. I don't really care that much about the regulations online. I just personally don't want to talk about it because It's pretty messed up.
It's either you or Milk Bar and Murdered by Crayon. Someone's got to do it, though. Someone's got to put that stuff out there, mainly because someone needs to shut up all these freaking morons who keep defending him and saying he did nothing wrong.
Yeah. It's easier for people to attack those who they disagree with. Hey, what's up, Gabe? It's easier for people to attack those they disagree with rather than define who they themselves are. We see this more than ever with social media, but it goes farther back to Hitler and ever before. This is true. Very, very, very true. And very well put. This is true. Jack Ray, do gropers sell indulgences to Jannah? I'm just asking questions. They do, actually.
Yes, as long as you share this tweet about the Jews, then God will let you slide for your sins.
We actually did think about reviewing the fight between Nick Fritos, Sneeko,
yeah, Candace, Sneeko. We
I don't
could
know
do that. We could do that tomorrow. I don't know if you want to go through it. It might be fun because I was thinking, there are all these Dawa videos that I want to respond to, but then there's like all this this is like hilarious. Their discussion.
Forget about the Dawa videos. You're gonna travel, do some debate. We should use this opportunity to go through something really fun. And I think that the whole topic, especially Nick Fritos' response to Sneeko and Sneeko's reaction to it is
You want me to get that ready for tomorrow and go through that stuff?
Yes. I laughed out loud when I was watching Fritos' response. And it's
oh boy,
it's good. They it didn't last very long. The whole alliance of the gropers and Muslims didn't last very long. It's taking a bad turn, and it's just amazing to watch. Freaking idiots. By the way, David, I don't use AI for the jokes. All me, baby. Testbot, as a Catholic, I can confirm we are in control. I knew it.
You have it.
Sid Dave, history was vindicated that the polytheists who opposed Mo were absolutely right in their assessment of Mo, tragedy for humanity that they lost. Alhamdulillah. Sid Dave, will we ever see a live-action Mo movie? Would love to see a Mo movie showing relationship with Aisha. Are you sick in the mind?
Are you sick in the mind?
Yeah, I was all with you, and I was all with you on Muhammad movie. I thought for years about doing like a Lego stop motion or a claymation version, and then we could just do all the voices and stuff like that. But now you're talking about watching Muhammad bang Aisha on film and stuff, and that's just some creepy stuff.
That's CP, by which I don't mean Christian Prince. Can't do that.
No, I'll never be able to see CP without thinking. I was like, what's he mean CP? CP? Oh, I get it. Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. The Jingoistic Pig said, can we finally do the Robin Williams jihad video? Yes. I don't know what you mean, but yes.
Oh, there's that video where I haven't seen it for a long time, but yeah, we could watch it one day. Let's see.
Ayatollah Khamenei back home to Kermit for this proud lady. Inshallah, inshallah, inshallah.
How about no?
Robin Williams and jihad.
I don't buy your Ella.
Ayatollah Khamenei, we have to free Palestine, Kermit.
Hey, it is only a minute and some seconds. Robin Williams on jihad. He's on stage, so
he talked about jihad.
It's a short clip, so he said something about it.
That's weird.
You type in Robin Williams jihad, a minute and 55-second clip pops up.
That's quite funny. Well, isn't he dead?
Yes, he is.
If he was so great, why is he dead?
Because of jihad.
See? I love this username here. Jan Netanyahu says, of course they're doing taqiyya. I'm not surprised. Alhamdulillah. That's a powerful point. Is this Philippines?
Taqiyya.
You should know, David. Is this Philippines? I think it is. Hu Jintao, not Moja, but Mo Peshabing upon one another. That's true.
That's what they do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Yadu Krishnan, we Indians have our own 9/11 known as 26/11. They even attacked the Jewish Outreach Center that time. Yeah. Of course, David doesn't know what 26/11 is about.
Which one was that? Was that the Mumbai massacre?
Yes.
That was the Mumbai massacre. I remember that.
Yes, that was it. Hu Jintao.
Because people started sharing pictures of that, and it was just like blood everywhere, blood and bodies all over the place.
Yeah.
But remember,
Only
if you have a
incident of
problem with it, you're an
anti-Semitism.
Islamophobe.
That's true. Only incident of anti-Semitism in Indian history. It's probably to blame on Modi or something. Gunar's Bulldozer, we should make a Half-Life 2 mod. We should. Drake Long, I remember not understanding why people were sad on 9/11. I was 10, it just felt normal. This was just how people fight. Maybe too many R-rated movies, but I was concerned that adults were upset. That is an interesting observation. To me, it was just all fun. Dyra 1, thoughts on Candace Ovens getting demonetized? Yeah, she was demonetized, and she also immediately made a post about it, basically implying that it's the Jews. David, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube can be pretty slimy on their enforcement. Here's the thing: I don't actually have problems with rules and then enforcing the rules properly, right? My objection has always been they'll make some generic rule and then they'll use that generic rule to apply it to people who aren't breaking the rules at all. That's my problem. They'll say, we have a problem with hate speech. And you say, hey, I don't like what Muhammad said about slaughtering unbelievers in the name of Allah. And they go, you see, that's hate speech. We're banning for this. Like, okay, that's objecting to a call for my violent subjugation or something like that is not hate speech. You're applying that in a really stupid way. But so anyway, with that said, I don't know what she got banned for. I know she said some crazy stuff. So if the crazy stuff she has said is actually in clear violation of their monetization policy, because keep in mind, guys, you have two different things. You have their rules about what's allowed on YouTube. Then you have a higher set of standards for actually being monetizable, right? Because it's not just YouTube is allowing this content. It's YouTube is having ads from companies on this content. And so there are the ad-friendly guidelines of stuff you're allowed to say for your channel to be monetized, because that's like an extra privilege. But I don't know. I don't know what she was banned for. If she shouldn't have been banned for it, then I would be against her being banned for it. If she was clearly violating their policies on monetization, then I don't know. Those are the rules. So anyway, yeah, my problem is with improper enforcement of rules rather than actual enforcement of rules.
Yeah, she did post about it, of which I only have some screenshots. Thus far, I have had 0 strikes on my YouTube creators account. I have now been inundated with 3 back-to-back content hits within minutes, plus an email that I'm now fully demonetized. We all know exactly who is behind this and why.
And that's the other thing, right? Like, I used to have tons of stuff get flagged and banned, and then I would have to go through the appeals process and then argue and stuff and get their stuff restored. Is it possible that a Muslim is behind this? Like, a Muslim is there and the Muslim's going, this guy's criticizing my position and therefore I'm just gonna block this. Is that possible? Of course. I don't know that. It could just be someone who, it could be all kinds of people who might have a problem with me criticizing jihad. It could be some college student who has absorbed the idea that the worst thing in the world you could be is an Islamophobe, and he sees my content and starts hitting the ban button. So in other words, I don't know who the person is, but there are all kinds of reasons. It could just be automated. They can have their algorithm searching for people who are criticizing Muhammad or something like that. The point is, it could be all kinds of reasons. So when Candace is constantly spouting all this deranged, insane conspiracy theories, does that mean the Zionists are the ones who got her stuff banned? Does that mean that, Israel contacted it? It's a possibility, but when you say we know exactly who's behind this, it could be anyone who has a problem with her spouting insane stuff, who's at YouTube, who's on the trust and safety team. So that's a problem. She's saying, hey, they're banning me. Banning you for what? For all my stuff. And then she can't even finish the tweet without posting some showing how unhinged she is when it comes to Jews. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you look at that and go, oh, she's one of the people who blame Jews for anything that goes wrong. Okay. I kind of see why. I don't know what you got banned for, but I can kind of see where this is going.
It was, I think the primary reason was her interview with Kanye West,
Oh yeah.
where which I didn't watch. I haven't personally seen it. Maybe I should have a look into it. At least look through the transcript of it. Apparently, it was in part pretty unhinged. But so that's the first thing that YouTube took down. And then they further banned a few other things, and then they demonetized her. And demonetization here means you can no longer make money through advertisements. That's it, or super chats. And
Well,
she's
those
like,
three. She said 3 strikes, though, right?
yeah.
Okay, so she will have an opportunity, because I've had 3 strikes before at the same time. I've had 3 strikes before at the same time, and you still, as your channel's still up, you can't post, but your channel is still up as you go through the appeals process. Unfortunately, I won the appeals on all 3 of the strikes. But so yeah, right now she's able to appeal those strikes, and you'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, if she just got a strike just because she interviewed Kanye and they just hit the ban button, I would have a problem with that. If her interview with Kanye is actually violating clear policies and so on, that's a different story. So anyway, I don't know whether I would agree with the demonetization or the blocked content or not, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I agree with you or not. If you're not violating, if you're not actually violating the policies and they're just coming after you, then I'm not a fan of that.
I mean, here was the issue. You can't do this here and then pretend that that you're just a victim here.
But then you move on to the experimentation. Yes, of course, that's been embedded into our minds. The Nazis experimented on innocent people. Candace, come on, that's the difference. They experimented on twins. I mean, some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd. I'm like, the idea that they just like cut a human up and then sewed them back together. Why would you do that? Literally, even if you're the most evil person in the world, that's a tremendous waste of time and supplies. Just slice a person in half and sew them together. That just sounds like bizarre propaganda.
Hang on. She has said this is completely taken out of context, and that if you actually watch the real video, you'll see she was saying something completely different and not at all unhinged.
Let's just go with it. Let's say that that's actually true. Absolutely, I am not a Holocaust denier. This is, again, another fabrication based off of a monologue that I did in which I was putting pressure on the American government to explain why it is a fact that we learned all of these things about the horrific things that Nazi scientists did. And to be clear, Piers, I did not even mention Joseph Mengelé's name in this.
So stupid. The experiment she's referring to was done by
Joseph Mengele. I didn't use his name. I talked about what he did, and everyone who knows the background knows exactly what that's about, but I didn't use his name. So come on, Piers.
The thing is, I can't tell here if she's being dishonest or if she's just genuinely ignorant, because this is Candace Owens we're talking about. She genuinely might not have known that it's Mengele who was in charge of those experiments, because she's just a complete idiot who says whatever she wants without learning anything. But on the other hand, she's also dishonest. She's a liar. So I'm not sure what to say.
Yeah, I think she's lying. We've just seen that over and over, where people say the deranged stuff and then they get called out for it. And in context, I was saying something completely benevolent and so on. By the way, little side note, I looked her up on Social Blade. For the last 30 days, she's gotten 38 million views on YouTube, and that's down 42%. So she's getting 50 to 60 million views per month. As far as estimated monthly earnings, they give the super low estimate. And if most of your stuff is not monetized, I have no idea what percentage of her stuff was monetized. If it's on the high end, in other words, if most of her stuff is monetized, she was making between $100,000 and $180,000 per month on that number of views. So demonetization, she just lost over $100,000 a month.
Well, she still probably has the money that she gets from Russia and all that. So
That's
no
true.
big deal.
That's true.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And to be clear, Piers, I did not even mention Joseph Mengelé's name in this skit at all.
So
I
you've been
spoke about
refuted,
all
AP.
the things that we learned that we were.
Why'd you put that up there?
Which ended up being rebutted, and there were tons of that part doesn't matter. The point is the end conclusion of that.
Look at that, by the way. She's almost letting it out here as well by mistake. She's so dumb.
And there were tons of that part doesn't matter. The point is in the Joseph Mengelé's name in this skit at all. I spoke about all the things that we learned that we were told over the years, some of which ended up being rebutted, and there were tons of that part doesn't matter. The point is
she's almost about to go into things that you heard about Nazi atrocities that have been debunked and so on, and then she realizes that she's going in the wrong direction and does a quick nervous chuckling and comes back to the topic. Yeah, I know people are pointing out skit. It's a very weird way to refer to your monologue in which you have a serious discussion about the Holocaust as a skit. That's a very, very weird way to put it.
The end conclusion of that is that the CIA, via an operation known as Operation Paperclip, took the Nazi scientists and brought them to America, where they continued horrific experiments on Americans. That's the full context of that. So they pulled out a statement, like one sentence where I said, we've heard all of these sorts of things that they've done, cut people in half, sewed them back together. And I said, that sounds like a ridiculous waste of time. And when you pull that clip up by itself, it sounds like I'm just diminishing all of these stories, when in reality, I'm saying, let's take everything at face. That just sounds like bizarre propaganda. But then
she's a liar. Here, she clearly is diminishing it and putting doubt on it and saying that it just sounds like bizarre propaganda.
That's
and
a
then
good thumbnail picture, by the way.
And then there, she suddenly acts like she never even made such a suggestion. Plus, and in this clip, I didn't even really touch on it because the focus of this is completely different. But Operation Paperclip, she is talking so much garbage. I even looked at the whole context, and she mentions a name of a Jewish doctor that has nothing to do at all with Operation Paperclip. She mentions a Jewish doctor as an example. Or you could go through it and just point out how absolutely insanely stupid and ignorant she is on these issues. But Operation Paperclip involved bringing over 1,000 Nazi scientists over to the United States of America in order to use them to make use of their scientific developments and research and understanding
to build weapons, because they
Yes.
knew. By the way, Russia did this. Russia had their own version of this. They
Yes,
took a bunch of those German scientists as well. They know what the German scientists were working on, and it was, if we do not fit, we're about to be in all kinds of trouble if the communists take all these scientists and start developing weapons. Therefore, we really have to do it.
Both sides knew, despite collaborating in the war against Germany, which they didn't do because they loved each other. They did it because Germany fought against both of them separately. Both of them knew that there is a conflict between the two sides, and both of them tried to take advantage of the fall of Germany and build up things as soon as possible. However, what did not happen as part of Operation Paperclip was that America brought a bunch of physicians over who conducted experiments on humans, and that they then in America continued to experiment on humans. This is what she just said explicitly. That never happened. It never happened. I actually looked into the data. Only one out of all scientists brought over was later, after his death, found out to have participated in inhuman treatments of people in experiments in Germany. And what was done there was artificial suffocation for human experiments. That's what one of the scientists brought over was proven to have done. And that was only proven much later, after the guy died. The people brought over were not people who experimented inhumanly on innocent victims. Nobody conducted experiments on humans in America. This is all complete nonsense. She's completely making this up. She's fabricating this. It's so stupid. And she just thinks that she can lie about these things. She can diminish the Holocaust. She can say, "Oh, yeah, that much of it is propaganda." Actually, what the Soviets did to Christians in the Soviet Union was actually worse than the Holocaust. It was the worst Holocaust, and she can make suggestions about how Jews or some Jews were responsible for abducting children and drinking their blood and things like that. And then she acts like, "Oh, I didn't even say anything. I was just asking questions. Why would they demonetize me? Why would they not show ads on my on my videos?" Well, if you say dumb stuff like this, if you say dumb stuff like this, if I said dumb stuff like this, I would deserve being demonetized, okay? If I diminished or justified the suffering of others, including Muslims, this way, I would deserve to be demonetized. This is your fault, nobody else's fault. She is a terrible person. That's what she is. Alhamdulillah. Invite Candy Ace to debate. Never gonna happen, man. What are you talking about? Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Churchill wasn't evil as Hitler, but he diverted Indian grains to UK for 8 months, causing hunger and famine and 3 million deaths. When Brit officials and Ind repeatedly asked for help, he said Gandhi seems okay. Yeah, I know. I say that he had policies that led to suffering of Indian people in the Indian subcontinent during the war. He didn't take their plight seriously. He thought that he suggested that diverting the supplies to the war efforts wouldn't really have that big of an impact. He also said some really degrading things. Said that Indians, I don't know. I don't want to misrepresent the guy, but that they are not fantastic at preserving stuff anyway. But definitely not anywhere remotely close to what Hitler was. Yeshua the King, AP, watch David's new video with vocab and a black man. Did you just... A black man?
I posted a video from probably like 6 or 7 years ago or something like this with vocab and John that I reposted because I want to refer to it in something. And so I reposted an old video.
Why did you do that?
Because I'm going to refer to it in something.
Why would you refer to it if it's old?
Because it's dope.
Alhamdulillah. Mina Higel Gosh, why am I still surprised at Sahih Bukhari 3399? Islam spreading its misogyny as usual. It's crazy seeing some Christians still defending Islam after what it says about Eve. The devil hates women. What can I say? This is a problem. Lots of people do lots of dumb things. Thank you, Mina Hill. Ksatria, I suggest you debate E. Michael Jones. No. About the subject of Jewish subversion of cultures and nations. Read his book. No, I don't care about E. Michael Jones. The guy should...
There's only one Michael Jones we care about, and his name is Inspiring Philosophy.
E. Michael Jones is a darling to those who are Nazis, but who try to mask it as religiously motivated. The guy's pretending to be like, I think he's Catholic, right? He's pretending to be just presenting a very religious Catholic point of view. Obviously, nothing to do with actual Catholics. The guy said things in the past, such as that Jews repeatedly ask and thereby deserve the genocides and the pogroms against them. He diminished the Holocaust and said that it's vastly exaggerated, is basically denying it while also partially justifying it. Here's the thing. The only person that I could have a discussion with, that I would have a discussion with on the Holocaust, for example, would be Nick Fritos, simply for the fact that he has a big audience, okay? Otherwise, This is a topic that is so stupid to debate. It's like having a debate about the shape of the earth. I would not sit down and have a debate with somebody who actually argues that the earth is flat. It is a stupid debate to have. It is an absolutely stupid debate to have. Similarly, I don't want to sit down and have a debate with somebody who says that the Holocaust didn't happen or that it was justified and so on. It's that person can go to hell. I don't care. I don't care about debating them. There is no benefit in that anyway. These people don't care about the truth. They don't care about the facts. They care about hating Jews, and that's it. That's what they are. Take an example of David Irving, the bastard who denied the Holocaust and then sued someone for mischaracterizing him as a liar, and then he had his butt handed to him by courts in England. Songs of relief. Eve didn't betray her husband. She brought him a tasty vegan meal. Yeesh, there's no pleasing some fellas. I know, right? Terrible. Cam, Tate terrible. I heard he kissed the goat and he liked it. But who knows? Goat Up got the video. I think he definitely will do it for money, inshallah. That sounds good.
It is going to be interesting once this trial comes up, because now because of the new trials involving trafficking minors, now they're facing life. Doesn't mean they'll get life, but now that's a life in prison is on the table now as a penalty.
Yep. Hope he goes away forever and ever. Candace is the Kamala of the right. I saw that Konstantin Kirsan published a video today which was called "Thou Shalt Not Criticize the Woke Right," and he put Candace and Tucker Carlson on the thumbnail. Haven't watched it yet. I generally think that Konstantin Kirsan has good views and stuff.
I like
we'll
that
probably
dude.
have to check that.
I like that dude.
I still don't know who he is kissing.
Yeah,
Still.
he needs to stop kissing so many people.
He probably caused COVID and all that.
With all his kissing.
Yeah. No, 26/11 was the only incident of anti-Semitism in all Indian history. Pak terrorists, Candace. YouTube term states Jews control our bank accounts in shekels, so we have to demonetize you. Shabbat shalom. Guys, I got 3 strikes on YouTube. 3, like the 3 patriarchs, 3 sons of Noah, the priestly blessing with 3 sections. Also in Jew law, doing something 3 times makes it permanent. Is this a coincidence? Bidding his Axel, I've recently moved to the LGHDTV capital of Australia. There's an insane amount of hijabs as well. Designer wants bright color too. Islam's so cute. Islam is so cute. Pretty. Sandra Jimenez became a YouTube member. Welcome to the club. Soon we will be just like Jim Jones, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. All right. Anything else, David? They're eating the dogs.
Yeah, they're eating the dogs. Sorry, they're not eating dogs. No, what are you talking about? I saw it on TV.
Manny Simon, how did you access the recent information on Tate's case? I can't find anything. I'm in contact with some people who are closely following the Tate case and getting updates on the latest documents and all that, which is where I saw it from. Murdered by Crane has been reporting about it as well. That. Yep. David, you were saying?
I don't remember. I was reading that next comment from Minahill.
Who's Minahill?
It's interesting.
Oh.
Probably want to check this out.
Minahill, you guys should watch the video Problems that is eating up this ummah by Numan Ali Khan for laughs. The guy is still around.
Yeah, he was one of the most popular Muslim speakers on the planet, and then it came out he's sexting all these girls, and everywhere he goes he finds like the hottest Muslim girl and then starts acting like he's interested in marrying her, and so hey, send me your pics and stuff, and here's pics of me, and then the girls exposed him.
That sounds like a positive line, man. That's weird.
Yeah, Numan Ali Khan, problems eating up the ummah.
Problems What is eating Gilbert?
It's funny that it's called "Problems That Is Eating Up This Ummah." I thought it was a typo in the super chat, but it's actually they put it that "Problems That Is Eating Up This Ummah."
Hey, that is funny. I thought the same thing. I thought Minna Hill here made a typo, but then the video is actually titled "Problems That Is Eating Up This Ummah," and then it's even problem that is eating up this ummah is then on the
Okay.
thumbnail, but it's
So
here.
it's correct on the thumbnail, not in the title.
Okay, good. Okay.
I'm actually interested. I mean, it's 40 minutes, so I'll have to check that out and see if there's a shorter section, but I am interested in that topic. There's a problem that's eating up the ummah, and that is sexting. Even now, while I'm speaking, I'm literally sexting a girl. I can't stop. It's a problem in the ummah.
Didn't he make an excuse that he didn't do anything illegal, and at the time he was divorced anyway, or something, or he was in the process of
that's what
divorcing?
that's what he said. He said he was interested in pursuing these women as potential marriage partners. So he's sitting there sexting all these girls and stuff, and
Right. I'm just exploring these candidates, and
I gotta see. You gotta see what you gotta take a look beforehand, right? I mean, you're walking around in a burqa. I don't know what you're looking like. I gotta see what I'm getting into. So let's see it. Gotta check out the merchandise.
Here's some guy, Justin Wooten, who doesn't know how to read his Bible. AP begging for more shekels from the synagogue of Satan. I want to tell you something there. Synagogue at that time simply is house of worship in the Christian context. Jew in that time simply is believer in context. The verse in question talks about the synagogue of Satan, and they will say we are Jews, but they are not. It doesn't refer to Jews. Okay, it does not refer to Jews. It refers to those who claim to be believers, but who are not in their actions, including in their persecutions and their hypocrisy and so on. I know you should probably. When I say this, I feel I want to stop myself, because I think, who am I to speak on this? But then the issue is also when people like this bring up phrases like synagogue of Satan or refer to the New Testament, it looks like these people have they have nothing Christian about them. There's nothing at all in their behavior, in their attitude, in their manners, in their content, or anything that hints in any way at all at Christianity. Right? There is no Christian conduct, no Christian teachings, nothing at all. The only time that they use Christian references and make references to and make citations of certain verses in the Gospels or in the New Testament, the only time they do that is when they have to hate Jews. That's it.
And then there's also the idea that you only say anything against hating Jews because you're in it because of money.
Yeah.
That's the other thing they say.
Yeah. Which just
Hey,
says a lot.
if the Jews weren't paying you, you would be in favor of slaughtering all Jews and wiping Israel off the map. But you're not for slaughtering Jews and wiping Israel off the map, so you must be getting paid. It's the same mentality like as in Islam, where there has to be this agenda behind everything.
That is true. And then they will take they will take things from Jesus, where he talks to the Pharisaic authorities in question, and make that all about all Jews. They will take things where the apostles, or where Jesus talked to, especially with the apostles, where Paul and others talk to other Christians, or to misguided new Christians, and will make that about Jews. they will take something that even talks about Gentiles and even make that about Jews and so on. This is just, there's nothing Christian about you guys. There's nothing Christian about you gropers. There's nothing Christian about you you cockroach-like people who whose entire job it is to simply demonize Jews. Your guy killed himself because it didn't work out. His favorite follower, who was his biggest simp, Goebbels, also killed himself because things didn't work out. Why are you guys still around? Stop pretending that you're Christian. Stop using the Bible. Stop using Christianity. You people are imbeciles.
A bunch of freaking dorks sitting around all day whining about Jews. My goodness.
Yes, yes. You people are sick. You're sick in the mind. You don't know anything. You're ignorant. You're stupid. You are dumb. That's it. That's who you are. This is why you follow some little idiot named Nick Fuentes. Anyway, on that good note, thanks everyone for watching this pleasant show. And David Wood, can you please tell me where I can find Jesus' Injil? I can't find any mention of Jesus' holy book. Do you have it in your library?
Yeah, it's a weird situation because Allah says we have it and no one can find it. And then Muslims make fun of us for not having it when Allah says we have it, which means they're accidentally making fun of Allah for having no clue what he's talking about. Same thing with Muhammad.
Oh,
just to recap, ladies and gentlemen, Muslims only seem to remember ever two things that the Quran says about the Injil. One, that it's inspired by Allah, and two, that it's something given to Jesus. They ignore the fact that there are all these references that say that Christians have the Injil, that we read the Injil, that we are supposed to judge by the Injil, that we have no ground to stand upon if we're not standing upon the Injil, all these passages. And then they'll laugh and say, haha, you don't have the Injil. Okay, so Allah and Muhammad are complete morons, according to you.
That's true. That is true. I just recently got the Goebbels diaries from 39 to 41 delivered in the mail to me. I have been going through it and highlighting every single part, every single mention of Christians, Christianity, and
German?
churches. I actually got the translation, the English translation of it.
Ah, weakling, little weakling.
Because I wanted to.
It doesn't grasp the full force of the German language. You read it in English, it sounds weak. If you read it in German, you go right? It sounds way stronger.
I got it because there are all these wonderful people out there. Minail made a super sticker saying #1 fan. Thank you so much, Minail. Appreciate it. I'm always happy to see you here. Lots of those gropers and neo-Nazis who act like, oh, Nazis were based. They was against corruption and stuff, you know. So I looked up all
trying to make the world a better place.
I looked up all references in the diary about Christians, Christianity, Christ, churches, religion. It looked them all up. It highlighted all of them. I want to put it together and make a video of it, and you will see what the Nazis actually thought about Christianity.
You're not going to make a video. You haven't made a video in like 8 years.
I should make it. I should compile it and make a video about Goebbels and what the Nazis thought about Christianity. You won't believe it. It's unbelievable. But he was saying the Führer agrees with me on the absurdity and stupidity, basically, of Christianity and the church. However, at this moment, it is in our best interest to not engage in any conflict. But after the war, we have to resolve the conflict with the church. And he's writing in his diary how unhappy and resentful he is because he's still part of the church because Hitler tells him it's strategic to still have a church membership, but he says it just pains me that I have been supporting such humbug and absurdity for so many years. He talks about how the Führer, just like him, hates Christianity. He compares Christianity to syphilis. Syphilis? He says that Christian morality is full of hypocrisy and stupidity, and that man is made to freely have sex as he wishes, but unfortunately Christianity has imposed this stupid morality of sexual restraint, which is completely the opposite of what gropers tell me. And so on. Anyway, interesting stuff. We shall look into that further.
That would be a
when
dope
the time
video.
is right.
Hey,
Yeah.
you can actually get double duty. Do your research, make a super dope video, then we do a live stream going through the super dope video.
Inshallah, we shall do so. We shall do so.
The Groypers will be humiliated.
It is totally based.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. I was kind of thinking that this would be a 1-hour live stream when I planned it earlier.
Not wrong.
But then it just kept going because it's kind of fun, and I like having everybody around here. I like this community, everyone. This is the nicest thing that I've ever said in my entire life. We'll never say it again. Thanks everyone for being here, for joining, for listening, being part of this. And we will see each other again tomorrow, inshallah, on David's channel.
With Sneeko and Candace and Nick Fuentes.
Inshallah.
The trinity of anti-Semitic evil.
Until then, take care. And as always...
Are you sick in the mind?
Sorry, wrong clip. As always...
Stay away from Islam.
That's what they do.